My father's half Mexican, half Irish. My mother's Italian. I read a lot of things online and I realized the country's undergoing a radical transformation because of immigration.
Hey guys, I have ethnic family. Things are different now because the immigrants aren't white.
I think it's 1 in 20 black men will commit a murder in their lifetime.
Black men have a 1 in 21 chance of being the victim of a homicide, not actually committing the murder. Why does he need to lie if his position is so strong?
Do you have any Jewish friends?
I do. I have many, yes.
But that's weird because you said this.
Jews and Christians have never been friends, ever.
That's just so funny. He tries to sanitize himself when he goes onto shows to seem more reasonable. That's it.
If you want people effectively to stop going near women, you are contributing, Nick Fuentes, to the diminishing white population.
I tell my followers to get married all the time.
Your biological clock is ticking. Why aren't you living by the principles that you set?
Let me ask you about Tucker Carlson.
All he does is call me an anti-Semite.
What about Candace Owens?
She's got this weird hostile demeanor. She's doing the clip thing.
The Jews don't like him. Black people don't like him. Candace doesn't like him. Tucker Carlson doesn't like him. Piers Morgan doesn't like him. Everything's a setup. Everybody's out to get me. I'm a victim. I'm a victim. I'm a victim. That is literally this entire conversation. All right, let's get this started. This just looks interesting. Nick Fuentes on Piers Morgan's show. I mean, very interesting that the way that our current media structure is set up is it's so outrage driven that, like, you know, big names like Nick Fuentes or smaller names become big because they're so provocative. So, you know, I guess the only good thing about Nick Fuentes on the rise is that it's having a negative impact on you know, the online MAGA movement, because there's a separation between him and MAGA. So at least there's some kind of civil war, you know. But that's just the way it is, man. We go left, and eventually that cracks, and we go right, and then eventually that cracks, and we just tick back and forth, and hopefully just make a little bit of progress in between. Let's just go, baby! Whoa!
You're a New York Times reader.
Whoa, are you muted, Nick? Almost Nick Fuentes. Are you muted, Piers?
PR fan and Daily Wire subscriber, or an avid consumer of all things Tucker Carlson.
Bro, this is so boomer. Why is your fucking music so loud?
For several months now, there's been no avoiding the subject of Nick Fuentes. And let's be clear, the main reason you're hearing about him is because he's popular. A large number of people, especially young men, are interested in what he has to say.
Yep, and I've been like watching him critically for a few years now. Obviously not a huge fan. And he's been like getting better at his ability to communicate his message. He's a race realist that doesn't believe that like black people are equal to white people. But he's been getting he's been really like honing in his message to make it seem like he doesn't hate other groups. He just wants to separate them. It's like reasonability trolling. It's like, oh, that sounds reasonable. Not really. But that's what you're supposed to get out of it.
What that says about our society and our culture is the subject of ferocious debate. For many people, it's a grave indictment of an insidious immorality. For others, he's a product of a culture which has turned on its own and left many young people feeling listless and bitter. He's either a litmus test for right-wing hypocrisy on free speech or a walking, talking manifestation of where the line should be drawn. And a frankly preposterous amount of airtime has been spent on debating everything from his ideology to his sexuality and whether anyone should actually talk to him at all.
Yeah, well, it's a little bit strange that you're like, was he 27, 28 years old and he's not married? And his whole philosophy is that you should just get married young and have kids. So, you know, he's a rich person. You know that there's plenty of girls that would be attracted to him. The fact that he's not married is questionable. Makes me feel like he might be gay or something, you know?
All.
Or maybe he likes black girls or something, but he can't do it.
I'm right.
He's supposed to be racist, but... Well, he is racist, but... I don't know, maybe he just doesn't follow his own words.
Writing a glossary entry on the Streisand effect, I wouldn't put a picture of her next to it. I would put a picture of Nick Fuentes.
Whoa.
They have opted to not do so when it comes to Nazis like Nick Fuentes.
Fuentes takes this guy apart brick by brick. It's a full takedown.
My concern is that people who are a bit more moderate are deeply alarmed by Nick Fuentes.
I was very happy to see that, like, Nick Fuentes really passed that test with flying colors.
That fragmentation is being caused purposefully by a splinter faction of people led by a young man named Nick Fuentes.
That's the war. Can you get the beef?
Bill O'Reilly, what the fuck? Damn, I didn't think he was still going. Jesus.
Prices down. Not crazy things that Nick Fuentes or these other loons say on social media.
Well, it looks like all these...
I think the biggest problem that you really see with this is that nobody meets Nick Fuentes' argument at all. Like, nobody really meets the argument of like where he's at they just kind of like, well, they'll call him, oh, he's crazy, you know, and like his ideas are bad, and like obviously as we get into this, we'll meet what he's saying and disagree with it. But a lot of times they'll just be like, oh, he's just crazy, he's this. It's like, yeah. But he's like, you know, he's charismatic. He knows what he knows how to communicate his message, even if it's the wrong message.
Screaming about Nick Fuentes on the internet is finally dying down a little bit.
So now we had on this guy, this Fuentes guy, and never challenged him.
You should have Nick Fuentes on your show, and you could ask him questions about that.
Okay.
The truth is, it doesn't make a lot of sense to spend all this time talking about Nick Fuentes, but
true,
not
King.
actually to Nick Fuentes. People who say you shouldn't give him a platform overlook the very obvious fact that he already has a platform of his own.
Yeah, that is true. Just got to make sure when you talk to him that you talk to him carefully and you don't act like a fucking idiot, Piers, you know.
Which is often bigger than most of the people complaining. And he uses it to speak unchallenged to his many followers. It's on that basis that I've invited him to appear live and uncensored on my platform. And Nick Fuentes joins me now. Nick Fuentes, welcome to Uncensored.
Hi, great to be with you.
Oh, I see.
I don't know you. I don't think we've ever met. You can correct me if that's wrong. I know about you. I know that increasingly people are talking about you in a more mainstream environment than you may be used to. So for those of you who know nothing about Nick Fuentes, I want this to be an opportunity to get to the real person. I don't know who that person is, but I do want to use this opportunity to get there. I've seen you talk, as we prepared for this, in exchanges with people and on your show, saying you fear it's going to be very hostile, it's going to be an ambush, all those kind of things. I don't intend it to be overtly hostile. I don't intend to ambush you. I intend it to be an examination of what you said on the record, an examination of what you believe or what you say you believe.
It's interesting because I wonder how much of his time in, like, you know, in the Destiny sphere, we'll call it. I wonder how much time in like the Destiny sphere will even get brought up. I feel like there's like an interesting area where Fuentes is in, where like if you're in that super online niche community, you've seen him say shit like he thinks that sleeping with a black person is the same as sleeping with a dog, and things of that nature. But now that he's more mainstream, that feels like just kind of this pocket. When we're inside these communities, they feel really real and really big and really prominent. But then once you're outside the communities, you're like, oh, they're not. So.
And an examination of what your rising popularity says about the state of the conservative movement in America. So those are my goals from this interview. What are your goals? Why are you doing it?
I thought it'd be interesting. And, you know, you've talked a lot about me on your show over the years, and this is the first time you actually extended the invitation. I think it might be the second, actually. I think we talked about doing it during A24 a few years ago, but you've talked.
Oh yeah, he attached himself to when Kanye kind of pretended to run.
Talked a lot about me with the panel, and now you've extended the invitation to talk to me. And I think it'd be interesting for me to maybe clarify some positions and maybe get to know you a little better as well. So I'm looking forward to it.
There is a belief that you have two personas. There's one that you roll out now for podcasts and for shows like mine, where you come across as reasonable. And then there's your show on Rumble, where you often come across as having, you know, a very unreasonable view.
I mean, maybe it's called code switching. I think that everybody does it to an extent. So
on things. This is what Coleman Hughes said about you.
Nick Fuentes knows exactly what he's doing.
Who the fuck is this guy? What the fuck?
He is consciously playing this double game as part of a long-term strategy to become popular enough to take the reins of power, at which point he plans to pivot towards the extreme and unpopular policies that he advocates daily on Rumble.
Yeah, probably. That's probably true. I wouldn't doubt that at all. That's how it's literally, I mean, that is the Hassan Parker method, no? He talks about it too, you know, hiding his power level, seeming more reasonable. Yeah, for sure. That's how all these things work. Yeah.
So first of all, what is your response to that?
Well, first
of all, like, what do you...
all, I would say that Coleman Hughes is a propagandist. He works for the Free Press, which is run by Barry Weiss. So I think that's...
Who is Barry Weiss? What does that mean? Seems like he's Jewish, so I'm assuming that's the dog whistle. There you go. Hey, that's a dog whistle at 5 minutes. Hey, a Jewish person runs this. It's bad. That's what he's implicating. He doesn't like Jewish people.
You have to consider the source. And Barry Weiss is a pro-Israel partisan.
No,
Free
I guess I could have just waited and we would have known, huh?
Press is just bought out by CBS for $150 million by Larry Ellison or his son, David Ellison. And so I think that's coming from a particular point of view. We can't pretend like that's coming from a vacuum or from some fixed position. That's coming from a propaganda outlet that's in favor of Israel. That's first. But second, I would say he is right about the two personas. And I think that everybody understands this on some level. On my show, I make jokes and I use rhetoric and I'm hyperbolic because for a long time, I had an audience that was small on these like dissident platforms. I was on D Live for many years. A lot of people don't even know what that is. And so I had a small following and we had sort of like an in-group sense of humor and memes and things like that. And you talk about it one way on a freewheeling live stream when I'm by myself and I'm ranting and we make jokes and we play devil's advocate. We play with different positions. But then when you sit down in an interview like this one and people ask me a good faith question, what do you actually believe? Well, then I clarify and I say, well, here I'm not joking. Here I'm not being hyperbolic. I'm not being rhetorical. I'll tell you.
I mean, it's a solid answer. I mean, again, I know that he hides his power level on some of the things that he says. I've seen the way that he talks about different groups. You know, when you say things like you think black people should all be removed from the country, but to go, oh, I don't really hate black people. Obviously, there's a level of hatred inside of you that you are hiding. But yeah, okay, sure. Yeah, we all know that, I guess. You know, people act differently based on different platforms, I suppose. It's called code switching, right?
Precisely what I believe. As far as this idea that I'm going to get power and then turn into Hitler, that just sounds totally insane to me.
He does think Hitler's a good guy, so just because he says it in a joking fashion doesn't mean that he doesn't think that. He's also questioned like the number of people that died in the Holocaust. So yeah, I mean, that would be his goal. So
be honest,
or to support somebody who acts like that.
Sounds insane.
Do you have aspirations for political power?
Not really. I think that if I wanted to run for office, I wouldn't say a lot of the things that I say. I don't know that a lot of people would vote for me.
Well, I mean, at this point, kind of say whatever it seems like and still get voted in. So
tend to offend everybody, even a lot of people that like me. So no, I'm a truth teller. I like to tell the truth. I like to do my live stream.
Okay.
Who is Nick Fuentes? Tell me about your upbringing. I know you grew up in the suburbs of Chicago. Tell me about your early years.
Sure. Or early how? Like my childhood or a little bit later?
Your childhood, yeah.
Well, I grew up in the suburbs of Chicago in LaGrange Park, as you say. My parents are ethnics. My father's half Mexican, half Irish. My mother's Italian. And
is Italian ethnic now? Okay. Ethnics. It's interesting because later on he's probably going to say something like immigration is taking over the country. But then right now he's like, hey, guys, I have ethnic family. And it's just kind of a funny aspect of like a cognitive dissonance. So like, okay.
They both came from a pretty rough upbringing themselves. They both were raised by single mothers, not because of divorce, but because both of their fathers had died. They endured a lot of dysfunction. And I think that's one of the reasons they came together and they related to each other and they wanted to create a normal upbringing for their children. They wanted to have a normal family life. And so they moved out to LaGrange Park away from the city and they raised me and my sister and really put us first. I think that's a big reason why I tend to have a lot of these family values or Christian values. My mother quit her job and stayed at home to raise us. And so I have a very close relationship with my parents, with my sister. We're a very tight family. And we grew up in a pretty idyllic town. And maybe we can sort of get into a conversation about politics from this. I loved my upbringing. My mom stayed at home. My dad was working. We're in a mostly white suburb in Chicago. Everybody was maybe half Catholic, half Protestant. It was a baseball town. I played.
Wow. Yeah, this obviously is going to make Fuentes look good. It's so interesting watching. It's interesting watching Piers, man, because Piers usually does just like this really hyperbolic, like debate perversion bullshit where he just has a bunch of performative debates going on at the same time. And this is really just like a, hey, let's get to know you. But it just kind of, it's weird because that's not his platform. If you had somebody like Dr. K doing this, it makes more sense because that's what he does. But for Piers to just kind of like let him, you know, to get to know him, I mean, I guess it makes it seem reasonable, but it's just very against what he normally does. And I'm honestly, I'm not confident that Piers is really very well equipped to do like a conversation like this, because this is just not what he does. He usually just like has a bunch of people on to have the performative fucking debates. So
played baseball for many years. In Chicago, we love our hot dogs. We have our baseball parade and get a hot dog. And so I love where I came from. I love the city. It's a working class city. I love the people here. They're very good, humble, down to earth, decent people. And I guess I had my political, not to jump ahead, but this is a big part of where my political awakening came from. I sort of left this bubble, if you could call it that. When I went to college in 2016, I went to Boston University and I read a lot of things online, and I realized the country does not look like LaGrange Park. It doesn't look like Western Springs or Hinsdale or Elmhurst.
Like white? Doesn't look, is he saying it doesn't look white? What is he saying there?
It's very different.
Oh, shit.
The country's undergoing a radical transformation because of immigration.
Okay. But not really, right? Again, I find it so funny that like right before this, in this entire like priming of this conversation, he's going on a tangent about how his parents are immigrants in some capacity, Italian, Irish, Mexican. And he's like, guys, the country's different because of all these immigrants here. But it's like, that's what this country's always been. This time, though, the immigrants aren't all white. And so I guess that's scary to him. But it's just funny that, like, you know, he can't even like he can't form a single thought without showing immense cognitive dissonance. But all right.
And so I saw that and I said, this is not really a desirable change. I don't like the south side of Chicago or the west side or LA or certain parts of Boston as much as I like where I came from. And I guess that's what made
he doesn't like non-white people, is what he's saying.
Me an American nationalist. I said, I want to preserve my home and the things that are familiar to me and the things I like about my home, what makes it America. So that's a little bit of
what makes America America is the immigration part. You're a mixture of like 5 different things. That is what makes America America.
About my background, I don't know where you want to go with that, but
well,
that's kind of where I came from.
My first obvious question is: were your parents immigrants to the United States, or were their parents, or were their grandparents? In other words, at some stage, I presume there were immigrants in your family who came to the US. Is that correct?
There were. I believe my mother was 4th generation and my father was 3rd generation.
Okay.
So their ancestors came here on my mom's side in the 1860s.
Yeah, I think I'm 3rd or 4th generation from my parents as well. I think my grandparents came here. I think that was what it was. My grandparents came here. I think it was my grandparents. Yeah. Was that 3rd generation? I think it's 3rd generation.
I believe the first wave of Italian immigration. My father's ancestors, I think they came around at the turn of the century in 1900.
So your view of immigration, and we'll get to the specifics about your views on immigration, are they not affected at all by the fact that if it wasn't for immigration, you wouldn't exist as an American?
Well, I would certainly exist, but like you said, maybe not as an American. Certainly that's influenced in some measure. But I think that the kind of immigration that we had for a long time in the country, it's different than the immigration that we have now.
Why? What makes it different?
And let's just say for openers, it's different immigrants. They're coming from a different place.
Yes, they're not white. So just to be clear, that's what his answer is. That literally his entire answer is, hey guys, things are different now because the immigrants aren't white. That's it. That's all it is, bro. It's literally. But I find it so funny. This guy's like, yeah, man, I grew up in a really white area and non-white people scare me. Like, that's his entire argument. It's like, wow, okay, cool. Like, that's super unique, man. I've never heard of somebody act like that before.
With a different culture, a different religion, it's not the same as it was. So first, you have a qualitative.
I mean, but that's not really true, right? That's not true. So I'm not going to sit here and say I know everybody's religion that comes from everybody's country, but there are so many different forms of Christianity. And back in the day, like all these different types of Christians were considered super different from each other. Nowadays, with the with more additives, we'll say, everybody kind of looks at Christians as the same, but they're not. There's tons of different denominations. You got Catholic, Lutheran, Protestant, Methodism, Presbyterian, evangelicals. I mean, how many different types of Christians are there? There's so many different types. There's like, unironically, Baptist. You have so many different types of Christianity. Lutheran, did I say that one? And they were all like people from different countries, different groups of white people celebrated different forms of Christianity. And there was turmoil and there was animosity between these two. Nowadays, they're not considered as different because there's an introduction of a new scary one. And that one is people are afraid of Islam. But it's the same fucking thing. All right? I mean, I don't know what to tell you. Most of those are the same. You're making my point. That's what I'm saying. You're making my point. See, that's what I'm talking about. All of you are literally making my point. Go ask your grandparents how what their interpretation of these different forms of Christianity were, because like that's what I'm saying. You guys are literally proving my point. They're considered the same now. Ask any Italian person, especially a grandfather, if they were considered white when they came here. They're going to say no, because white people weren't a thing back then in the same way. Italians weren't considered white. There's times where Irish people weren't considered white. Now they're considered white. There's times where all these different types of Christianity weren't considered like one thing, but now they are, because we have the introduction of some kind of an other group. The other group, we have like Muslim people, black people, oh my goodness. So now we're all white as some kind of unified force, I guess, which is stupid as fuck, you know, because I don't mean to be an asshole, but the type of white I am is known for engineering. There are other types of white that are known for drinking. So, like, let's not fucking pretend that if we're going to play that game, let's take it to its fullest extent. Don't stop at just your skin color. I wouldn't want to play that game. But that's my point that I'm making, right? And so now that there's an introduction of another, all of a sudden it's like, oh, it's too different. It's just different relative to what's going on today. It's not like this huge thing. So,
difference. My ancestors, for the most part, I have 3 European grandparents from Ireland and Italy, 1 from Mexico. They came from Europe. They came from a society where there's a common ancestry, there's a common religion, common civilization. The people that have come in since 65, since Hart-Celler, they're coming from China, India, the Northern Triangle, Mexico, Venezuela. And so first, they're just different people. Secondly, it's a quantitative difference. There's way more, and it's an unceasing.
Why is it way more per capita? What do you mean it's way more? The only reason I would expect that there would be a potential increase per capita, not just raw numbers, is because we're at a time now where our birth rates are reducing. And in order to subsidize those birth rates, we kind of have to, like, oh, we're not even at the peak. We're not even at the peak here. I think this is by percentages. So this is over the course of time. So this is like the 1850s. It was about 10%. It's gone up. We got like 1900. We're at roughly 15%-ish. It went down pretty drastically into 1970, and now we're kind of opening back up again. So in the timeline of our country, this is not even abnormal, the amount of people. And this is percentage. This is immigrant share. This isn't raw numbers. This is per capita. So again, like there's not more. And if there was more, it would kind of make sense. Like it makes sense that we're having an increase because we have an aging population and we have a lot of welfare programs. Old people, when we first instituted things like different welfare systems, like Social Security, there was no money there. So what happened is the old people back then the young people back then were paying for old people's Social Security. Now they're old, and now it's our turn to pay for their Social Security. If we don't have a young labor force to satisfy the market and to be able to work jobs, there's not going to be enough taxes going to pay for their welfare systems. So we need to do that, especially since birth rates are down. You want to incentivize increased birth rates? I haven't heard anything from Republicans talking about universal childcare. We're not talking enough about like IVF being covered. Healthcare in general being covered would be a huge like reduction of a burden. You want to incentivize these birth rates? Why don't we start actually doing things to make people want to do stuff? Honestly,
always increasing wave. For the first 3 or 4 waves of immigration, you would have a major influx of immigrants, and then it would stop, and then you'd have another wave, and then it would stop. This one, it just keeps going up for 35 years.
What? Is there more that I need to be looking at? What are you talking about? This is just how this kind of thing is. Again, there's a reason for it because of the aging population.
And it's too many. So that's
says who? Like, I agree. We should get control of the asylum seeking process. But why do you think it's too many?
really where I would draw the distinction between maybe where I originate from. I would even just simply call that immigration. What this is an invasion. It's a completely different policy.
But what are you talking about? Yeah, there's an invasion of people trying to fucking mow my lawn, guys.
Can't even call it the same thing.
But you mentioned Mexico in that list, and your father is half Mexican. So
yeah,
I mean, by your criteria, part of the invasion would include your father, presumably, and his immediate descendants who came from Mexico.
Not really true, because when my father's ancestors came here, it was a small fraction of the total immigrants that came from Mexico. I don't believe that we should have zero immigrants forever, or even zero immigrants from non-white countries. But you have to draw the distinction. My
That's definitely new. That's definitely like a power level hide there, because he does not believe that.
father's father, he was here in the 40s and 50s. It was his parents, or I believe either his parents or grandparents, that came here even earlier. Up until 1965, 90% of the immigrants were coming from Europe. I have no problem.
Who cares?
With that. If we have 10% of them coming from Mexico or Latin America, maybe that
he just wants them all coming from Europe. Okay.
that's reasonable, but that's not what it is now. Now you've got 10 million illegals in 4 years under Joe Biden, and you got
That's still a lie, just to be absolutely clear. Just need people to understand that. So there weren't 10 million illegal immigrants coming into the country under Biden. There were 10 million border wall interactions. Those aren't the same thing as people coming into the border. Coming into the country. So some of which are repeat people coming back after they're sent back home. The number might still be high of actual people who came into this country. The problem is that he's lying. Right? So about half of them were able to come in to pursue an immigration case, right? Now that might still be a lot, and it's fine if you think it's a lot, but I think that you need to understand something is that, like, why does he need to lie if his position is so strong? This is interesting, isn't it? You shouldn't need to lie if you're right. If your position is strong, you shouldn't need to lie about the number of people coming in here illegally. But the fact that he needs to do that, I mean, to me, it just communicates that, like, his position is strong, and he knows he needs to lie to sensationalize it to make it seem like worse than it is.
millions more legal immigrants from China, India, Venezuela, El Salvador, and it's so many with no break for assimilation, and they're all from non-white countries. It's transforming what America.
Well, yeah, because white countries are generally is pretty well established at this point, so that would be why it's more non-white countries, you know. Back in the day, these other countries that were not considered white back then, were not as established, so they came here for a better life. Now a lot of European countries are established. That's literally it. It's not like this magical hot take. When you explain the reason for these things, they seem significantly less scary. The problem is that he preys on people being ignorant and not really understanding anything about anything.
America is. And again, that's the distinction. That's what makes it unacceptable.
He's scared because they're not white. That's the whole answer, by the way.
I always believe everybody is a product of their environment. Right? I've interviewed thousands of people.
Thankfully, I doubt we're going to get any like intelligent pushback from Piers, so I'm really excited about that.
I mean, it may be 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 people from all different walks of life. But the one common theme I would say is everyone's a product of their environment.
Okay.
And I was reading some stuff about you in the last few days. There was an episode of your podcast where you talked about your father, Bill Fuentes, and how he wouldn't take the family, including you, to certain restaurants because he believed they were associated with African Americans. We would be deciding where to go to eat, you said. What are we going to do for dinner tonight? It was a running joke. Me and my sister would say Applebee's, and my dad would say we would never.
I just don't think that this story is. I mean, I guess I understand where he's going from. He's saying that like his perspective is just something that he was raised with, which makes sense. He was born in a white area, so.
Eat at Applebee's. Not in a million years should you be caught dead, Fuentes said about Applebee's. Go to a different restaurant, a local restaurant. No Applebee's, no Red Lobster. That is commonly known as black fare.
It's silly, but like Red Lobster has actually gotten really good. So Red Lobster's current strategy, especially now, it's kind of a recent strategy. So is to really cater to black people, which is not a bad strategy. The Red Lobsters are actually better than they used to be, at least in my opinion, because they're appealing to like black clientele, which is smart, man. And it's a smart thing. I mean, every time I go to like a Asian buffet, there are no fucking crab legs left. So, black people seem to like seafood, which I do too. It's pretty good. Not a big crab fan though, or lobster fan, only because it's a lot of extra work. It's a pain in the fucking ass. I'll take imitation crab over that.
And you also shared another story about your family and restaurants. It said, before me and my sister were born, my family had a saying about Olive Garden that contains the N word that we're not allowed to say. So my question, based on that anecdote that you say on your own podcast, is do you think you grew up in a racist environment?
Yeah, no shit.
That your father was inherently racist and that thought process moved to you?
Well, I would say it's a new low. I've been attacked for being a racist many times, but to attack my father, to attack my parents based on anecdotes, I would say that's sort of a new low.
Dude, Fuentes is actually like that. That was such a weak answer. That was a great example that Piers brought up. Like, hey, like you literally said your father was racist and used to talk about wanting to avoid black people. Do you think that has anything to do with your opinions? Wow, you're attacking me. Is this not like super transparent, like victim complex shit? Or do we just accept victim complexes now? That's incredible. Like, what the fuck? Okay.
Well, hang on, it's your anecdote.
Yeah, but he's not here to defend himself.
You are. Okay, so.
Well,
and my parents are.
You told the story.
And I will. And I'll
I'm not trying to ambush you.
Them.
As I said at the start, Nick, to be clear.
No, it's not an ambush.
Nick,
but
to be clear,
I think
I'm not
understands.
ambushing you. I'm literally reading an anecdote that you revealed on your podcast. It's you that's put it in the public domain.
I know.
I'm simply asking you whether my assessment of that, which is that your father didn't want to take you to certain restaurants because of what you refer to as, they were commonly known as black fare, whether that attitude to African Americans in that instance permeated to you. It's a reasonable question.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, no.
Nick is terrified of it. It's funny that like the first question he gets is so significant in the pushback that he's like crumbling. He instantly crumbles in this conversation.
Oh, like I said, I think everybody knows what that is, but I'll address it.
It's a reasonable question. It's actually one of the most reasonable questions I've ever seen Piers ask anybody. So, yeah, we know what this is. It's a reasonable fucking question that you're incapable of answering because it makes you look like a fucking idiot.
I'll engage with it and I'll defend my father from the charge of racism.
Sure.
No,
okay.
my parents are not racist and they've never been racist. I'll tell you about my parents. They used to have a school in Chicago in the South Loop where they instructed people on how to shoot firearms. It was a security school and most of the clients were black. And I believe actually one of their clients was Larry Hoover's son at one point, sort of a funny story.
I believe all this, yeah.
And so most of their clients would come in from the south side of Chicago. My grandmother, she grew up in the projects in the city.
Do you think that those people would like it if they knew that he hated them? Like his father apparently hated the black people? How do you think they would feel about it then?
And so my family being in Chicago, being ethnics, being Italian, Irish, Mexican, and the West Side.
So now what he's doing, he's trying to be like, oh, we're ethnic too. Like, so we can't be racist. But it's like, oh, you just distinguish white ethnics versus other ethnic people. So now it doesn't make any sense, does it?
On Taylor Street, all over the city. My family for many generations have lived near and around black people. And look, my views about black people and their views about black people are shaped with experiences with black people.
So you're saying that they're justified in their hatred of black people? What are you trying to say?
And what they will tell you, what my parents would say if they were here, is that for many, many years, the older generations of black people were very respectful, very humble, very decent.
Oh, you mean the ones that got hit with the most racism ever? Wow, very interesting.
In fact, my grandma used to have an anecdote. She grew up in a lot of dysfunction. Her mother was mentally ill, and they would be having dinner in the projects, and there'd be so much chaos and dysfunction and disagreement and fight.
Dude, I'm actually like so much less worried now watching Nick Fuentes talk. Like he's actually very oh, sorry. Sorry. Didn't mean to let that slip. He's actually a fucking idiot though. He's just like such a baby. He's like a weak little baby. He's I don't know, dude. It's just like okay, great, man. So your fucking parents are racist and you're fucking And you're fucking hoping about it. Okay.
And she would look across the way out the window at a black family in the other apartment, and they'd be holding hands around the table saying grace.
Wow.
And this is sort of the culture that used to prevail.
Wow.
But now what you have in the city is that there's no accountability for the black people. And now Chicago has become a complete dump because these teenagers go out and they take over the city. They call them teen takeovers.
Who calls them that? Bro, is this actually just Trump? The way that he talks is just like Trump. Like they call him teen takeovers. This is actually super weird and transparent. I honestly so I haven't sat down and watched Nick Fuentes in a while. He sounds almost completely different. He's just trumping. Like his whole strategy is just try to copy Trump. It's very this is so basic. What the fuck is this? I give this guy 6 months before he's not mainstream anymore.
That's the euphemism for it. They're teenagers, but they all come from the same neighborhood. They drive up.
They call it this because if somebody has a name for it, it must mean that it's prevalent.
And they mug people and attack people, and they destroy cars and destroy shops. We had the Festival of Lights a couple of weeks ago. It's supposed to be a family event.
Wow.
And they light up the trees, and they, there's a big parade. I was in the parade one year.
Wow.
And you had a bunch of black
dude, this is just Donald Trump. What the fuck?
People there shooting each other. 7 people shot, a 14-year-old killed in the Magnificent Mile. And I know there's a lot of black people that feel the same way about this. They say, we've lost control of the city.
Okay. But you're trying to say that black people shouldn't be here based on it, right? So I don't think that the other black people would be like, yeah, we should get rid of black people. I guess unless it was Jesse Lee Peterson, he might say that.
And we're looking for accountability. We have a lot of black people that are always outraged about racism, outraged about attitudes from white people, but they're never ashamed of some of these behaviors, never ashamed of some of the things that go on. And that's
are they supposed to associate themselves with the black people doing bad things? Is what? I don't understand. Why would they be additionally ashamed? Are they supposed to be ashamed personally?
Why I think there's a lot of negative attitudes these days.
Oh shit.
And so, again, I think those attitudes, you say I'm a product of my environment. I am. And so are my parents and my grandparents. Unlike you.
So basically his parents don't like black people. Got it. Thanks, man.
Because you're not even American. In Chicago, we have to live in a big, diverse city where there's a lot of different kinds of people.
Whoa,
and I think anybody in Chicago will tell you the same.
I live in London. It's one of the biggest and most diverse cities in the world.
Whoa.
But it's not the same.
Well, actually, it's a big, diverse city. The only difference is we don't have the gun violence because we don't have guns. That's a whole different story. I don't want to get into that with you. I have got into that before in America.
You got a knife problem. You got sword problems.
We have problems with
Aladdin.
What they got? Ninja swords?
We have problems with.
You say Aladdin? Oh, he's saying that was a Muslim problem. That's what he's indicating there. Okay, incredible, great stuff, man.
Violent crime. I make no pretense of it. So the idea that somehow I'm cosseted in London because I'm not in Chicago.
I didn't say that.
Well, you kind of implied it, but I guess my point about the environment, I'm not saying you are a product of your environment. I'm saying most people.
Well, he is. Of course, we're all a product of our environment. There's literally no way to not be a product of our environment. Product of our environment doesn't mean that you end up exactly like everybody in your environment. It just means that you are a product of it. Something that happened inside of your environment shaped you. That's it.
In some capacity. When I read that anecdote, which just to remind you, it's not something I have put out there. You told this story, right? And you said that
you said this. We're looping. You said this already.
But you haven't really directly.
He's already fucking debate broing him. Holy shit! What the fuck?
I think responded to it, which is whether your father would not take you to certain restaurant chains because he associated them with black Americans. Is that true?
No. Well, see here, if you're in America, you would say that Olive Garden is not real Italian food. Applebee's, TGI Fridays, this stuff is a load of crap. My dad was just a food snob, but no, it's got nothing to do with that.
Oh, so why'd you say it? Cool.
My best friend in first grade was a black guy. We're not a racist family. So
okay. So when you told the story, I'm just curious. So when you told that anecdote, which
just because you like some black people doesn't mean that you can't be racist. Okay, trust me. When you categorize like good versus bad black people, which he has done, and you make it seem like it's a quality of black people, like, yeah, that's obviously going to be problematic. But okay, he's just a coward and doesn't know how to stand on his shit. But this is what he has to do, because he knows if he just comes out and says it, then people are gonna be like, wait a minute, that is like super racist. What the fuck? Which
clearly on the face of it is racist, right? You're basically saying your father made racist decisions about where you would go as a family to eat. Are you saying? Well, I'm just.
Yes, he is saying that.
Going to ask you a question. Are you saying that when you told that story, you didn't mean to infer that he was racist? And do you understand why when
he's just going to say he was joking, which is true. He probably said it in a joking capacity. But just to be clear, people joked about Charlie Kirk being dead too, but the indication was that he deserved it, right? People use jokes all the time to communicate like the way that they feel. So just because somebody says like, "Oh, I was joking," it doesn't mean that like there wasn't supposed to be an impact or they didn't mean it. It just jokes are like can be a really good way of putting information out into the atmosphere in a way that seems more digestible.
Somebody like me reads that anecdote for the first time, as I did this week, I reach a different conclusion.
Well, I understand what you're doing, which is a sort of making of a murderer. How did he?
Dude, it's so funny, dude. He's such a victim. That's what's happening right now. Just to be clear, he's victimizing himself. Anytime he gets like a reasonable question, he's like, I'm a victim. Stop. That's literally it.
Become racist. Well, his father didn't eat at Olive Garden because he said that's not real Italian food. Hang on. Can I? What's with the interruptions? Can I explain?
I'm literally reminding you of something.
This is something that Nick has done for a very long time. This is one of the things is that he just says dumb shit and he constantly complains if you like interrupt him. That's something he's always done. He like his entire thing is like a victim complex. Like just to be clear, like, if you look at Nick Fuentes, like what is he? He's like a 5 foot tall guy. He's a 5 foot tall, non-threatening looking person that puts his hands up the second things get a little bit tough and goes, hey. So his whole tactic is going to be like kind of like a slimy piece of shit. That's his whole tactic because he doesn't have any like meaningful confidence. His entire strategy is like that's what the whole thing is. So you're going to see that a lot more as time goes on.
Thing you said on your show, which led me to conclude a certain thing. If I'm wrong, tell me.
Yeah, it was said in jest as a humorous anecdote, and now you're trying to spin it into a narrative, which is his parents are racist. He comes from a long line of racists. And I think everybody knows my parents are boomers.
Mm-hmm. Yes, they're racist. Old people are much more racist. Yes. What is that? Okay.
These people come. Well, you're a boomer, I guess, too. In a
I'm
way,
60.
right? You were born
I'm
in
60.
what, 19? Yeah. So you're a boomer also. Or maybe you're a Gen Xer. I suppose it's sort of on the cusp. But it's a humorous anecdote. These are kind of the attitudes of baby boomers in society, but
racist attitudes, yes. He's trying to meme racism. Yeah, they're racist. Like my wife's grandfather was a police officer, and when he was dying, he didn't want any black or Hispanic women or people in general taking care of him and like the home like healthcare thing. He didn't want any aides. He said it much less nice than I communicated it. But like just like, oh, it's a meme, teehee. It's like, no, like, yeah, they're racist.
You're trying to spin it into a narrative, which is you're a product of your environment. Your dad's racist because of this joke. Now you're a racist. And I don't think that's a fair characterization.
Okay.
I mean, you can be as much of a victim as you want.
People can make their own minds up. They can go back and listen to you say it. I mean, the beauty of what I'm going to talk to you about in this interview is that almost all of it is just going to be reminding you what you have said and asking you what you meant. Your position about that story is that it was a joke, okay? I want to come to something else you said. This is where you talk about Jews, women, and blacks. Let's just take a listen.
And blacks? You can't say that, Piers. What the hell? What are you, Joey Swole?
They're always coming up with, no, it's not the Jews. No, it's not women. No, it's not blacks. It's actually really complicated. No, it fucking isn't at all. Jews are running society. Women need to shut the fuck up.
Wow, this is bad, by the way, YouTube. So if you try to give me some kind of AI moderation on this, I just want to make sure that I'm saying it here for you to review it, because you guys have been doing a horrible fucking job lately on your shit.
Blacks need to be imprisoned for the most part.
Jesus Christ, what the fuck? What did he just say?
Women need to shut the fuck up. Blacks need to be imprisoned for the most part.
Jesus Christ, holy fuck.
And we would live in paradise. It's that simple.
Okay. Would you?
I was just joking. I'm joking. Is that what he's going to say?
Like to clarify what you meant there?
That's all true. That's 100% true. Everything I said in that clip is true.
Including that blacks need to be imprisoned for the most part.
Yeah. Yes.
But all of them?
No, for the most part.
What does that mean? Okay.
What does the most part mean? What percentage of American blacks would you like to see in prison?
Whatever the percentages of the murderers. I think it's 1 in 20 black men will commit a murder in their lifetime. So
that statistic is untrue again, but okay. So just a few key points. This is data that was from 1985, and it's actually the data that he's referencing from the Bureau of Justice Statistics talks about how black men have a 1 in 21 chance, so approximately 1 in 20 chance of being the victim of a homicide, not actually committing the murder, right? So I don't know if you guys know this, but some people murder more than one person. Isn't that incredible? So like this is not actually 1 in 20 black men will be murdered. This is like, 1 in 21 black men, estimated from 1985 are estimated to be murdered, right? So this statistic is obviously like out of context. We know this. We've seen this racist statistic before, but again, it's easy. He just feels like he needs to lie. And the idea is that he's going to stand on like what he said, even though it's a complete bullshit, and try to make it seem like it's more reasonable. Like, I was just joking, but there are a lot of black people that commit crime. Okay. Like, why is that? Maybe it's because your fucking father would avoid them like the goddamn plague and tell your family to hate them and not give them money, even if they have like reasonable businesses. People commit crime when they have no other option. So, okay. But it's, again, he's lying about the number.
maybe let's say that 5%.
Oh, so you're talking about black people who murder people?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
But you didn't say that.
That's
you
the
just
crime
said
problem.
blacks need to be imprisoned for the most part. You didn't clarify that you were talking about black murderers.
Right. No, you're right. That's a good addition to that. That's a great point.
Do you think it's funny or?
I do. I think it's hilarious. I think it's totally true.
Do you think
he's just going to go right into like just memeing because he has no other strong position? People are like, wow, he's so based. That's pretty much it. It's so boring.
American would find it funny. You think that blacks should be imprisoned for the most part?
So just to be clear, this is not really the way that you deal with this kind of thing. When somebody like Nick Fuentes is doing like he's just doing like LOL trolling about being racist, you just have to kind of troll him back a little bit. So when he starts laughing, I mean, I don't know what you would do back, but you wouldn't be like, do you think that's funny? Like, yeah, of course he thinks it's funny. It's like, because his strongest position is to just be a fucking moron. So that's it.
Blacks are my biggest fans. I get high fives all the time. They say, Nick Fuentes, I love your show. They agree with me. And you want to know why?
Guys, I can't be racist. I have a black friend.
Here's the difference. Black people are the most victimized by other black people. You think black people want to live in the hood and the ghetto and get shot all the time? That's what happens in the south side of Chicago.
He probably does have some black fans, but he doesn't have any black fans, just to be clear. So what I mean by that is that like the fans that he would have would be like Nigerian or something. A lot of Nigerian people or other like, we'll say non-native black Americans is what, you call them. They don't really want to be associated with black people. So that's who he do be referencing. But again, he doesn't really have like any actual like real black fans. Like he's just saying that. It's like, I have a black friend, so I can't be racist type shit. It's fucking boring.
Chicago, you should come here. I'll take you there. We could go to Garfield Park.
My son went to Chicago
Inglewood.
University for a year, actually, several years ago.
Yeah, that's a bubble. That's a bubble. You think you're in Chicago and Hyde Park? You don't know Chicago. Go a little bit west, see what it's like over there. And I'll tell you, black people agree with me because they're tired of it too. And maybe not most of them, but a lot of them agree with what I say about that.
Maybe not most of them, but a lot of them. So like none of them really agree with you? Okay.
Because they know how it is. That's why the first thing they do when they make a little bit of money is they go and leave to another neighborhood.
Okay, so what was just remind me again, the percentage of black men who commit murder in America. What was the percentage you gave me?
It's 1 in 20. 1 in 20.
It's 1 in 100.
No, it's 1 in 20.
No,
it's not 1 in 20. That's the rate of black men that will be like victims of like an attack or like a murder themselves, not actually a murderer.
Less than 1 in 100 black U.S. men commit murder. That's the most up-to-date crime statistics in America.
That's not true.
It is true. This is how you deal with like facts, though. If you're like on the right, you just have to say no, that's not true. Yeah. Okay. So the actual estimation is. I just want to be absolutely clear. The estimation from 1985 is in a black male's lifetime, they have the risk of being murdered like a homicide victim. That's what the statistic is.
I've seen other statistics. They say one
He hasn't. He's never seen other statistics. He just lies about things. He's just lying.
20 will eventually commit a murder.
That's not true.
Your rate means that you're saying that
that literally makes no sense. If that was true, then you would see the statistic be 5%, not apparently like 1%.
5 times as many black men commit murder as the official crime statistics say.
Yeah, there's a report, I believe, on X by Data Hazard. I'll have to go and double check
Wow, a report on X. We know that's the factual kingdom of heaven, dude.
that for you. But yes, there's some pretty shocking evidence that says that it's far more alarming.
This wouldn't be shocking evidence that says it. There would be shocking facts. What are you talking about?
Than you would think.
Great. 1 in 100 is still pretty high. Probably because this is like just historical systemic racism. Like it do be tough. Product of their environment. What is he referencing though? Let's see. So this is the graph I'm assuming that he's referencing. It says 1.5% of black men born in 1974 ended up in prison for committing a murder before turning 35 years old. Then it goes on to say 2.2% of the same cohort were victims of homicide by 35%. So I guess also black people. What's funny is if you read this graph, this is all trending downwards. The graph that he's referencing, and I don't even know how accurate it is, like born 1974 is higher than born 1988 or 87. I guess you go 86 because that's the one that has something on both sides. So it looks like the numbers have been cut down significantly over the course of a decade, and this is from the 1980s. I wasn't even alive there. So if anything, this just shows us that things are getting better. So we got a graph that says that black murder victims, by the way, and imprisonment has gone down. So from fucking 50 years ago. That's not the graph he's referencing to? Oh no, it's a Die Hazard graph. What other graph could he possibly be referencing? Good stuff, Nicky boy.
Go and double check that for you. But yes, there's some pretty shocking evidence that says that it's far more alarming than you would think.
Wow, far more alarming than I would think. But wait, you gave a statistic that's 1 in 20. Now it's more alarming than I would think. So now the goalpost, now it's shifted though. So it's not quite 1 in 20, but it might be scarier than you think. All right, well, he just referenced actual like FBI data, so good stuff.
Okay, but you would accept that the official crime statistics are 1 in 100, or you wouldn't accept that statistic?
I don't know. I don't have it in front of me, but I've seen other evidence. Like I said, Data Hazard on X, I believe, produced a report about a year ago. It said 1 in 20. But
yeah, you believe the producer report from a year ago? Wow, that's so interesting. Hey, look, this is about a year ago. This is the post he's referencing. It started like 50 years ago and ended 40 years ago. Wow, that's really representative of today.
I mean, whether it's 1 in 20 or 1 in 100, that's a lot of people, Piers. I mean,
sure. Why do you think it's so high? Do you think it's because black people are inherently a problem, or do you think it's that we've had an issue with all like social and economic mobility since 1980, and that since they're the most impoverished group, they're struggling the most?
A lot of white people commit murder too. Well, they do, don't they?
Okay, but it's about proportionality. I mean, white people are 65% of the population. Okay, but it's about
a lot of white people commit murder too.
1 in 20 or 1 in 100. That's a lot of people, Piers. I mean, this is
a lot of white
problem.
people commit murder too.
Yeah.
Well, they do, don't they?
Okay, but it's about proportionality. I mean,
it's not. So, the reason that in this specific instance is not is because Piers is just saying white people also kill people and so do black people. He's not making a statement on if it's more or less in a certain area. He's just making a general statement that like, yeah, people commit murder. And it's important because like, yeah, statistically, black people do commit more murder per capita. Why? Nick Fuentes thinks it's because black people are inferior. Everybody else knows that it's because like historically there's been an issue of like systemic racism. You know, I hate to beat on like a drum. I'm not saying that there is any systemic racism nowadays, but like those things still echo in the past. If you had like, if your fucking Wall Street got bombed back in the day and it used to be acceptable to do mass hangings of like your group of people, yeah, you're probably not going to be super successful nowadays. Like, what a hot take. It's like, okay.
I mean, white people are 65% of the population. Blacks are 13%. Mm-hmm. And I think anybody would tell you that more black people proportionally commit violent crime than white people, and people vote with their feet. People would rather pay a much higher property tax.
Most mass
what's
shootings.
with the interruptions?
I'm sorry.
This is the Nick Fuentes tactic. It's a, just to be clear, you have to understand Nick Fuentes will just victimize himself this entire time like a child.
Thank you. I appreciate that. You know, you look at in Chicago, in New York, these neighborhoods are so
like Piers was just about to bring like something else, like, oh, well, you know that school shootings are disproportionately white. That was the point that he was going to make. And it's like, okay, what's, you know, but Nick is he's info dumping right now. He's info dumping. This is a popular debate, the debate molesting tactic is to info dump onto people. I mean, elf shot.
stratified. People would rather pay a high tax rate. They'd rather pay a much higher property value to live in a less diverse, less black neighborhood because they don't want to live around the violence. And I think that when you look at even on the public transit, the subway, the blue line, you know, people don't want to go there because they know who occupies and menaces the public transit. It is
menaces.
These people like Daniel Penny had to deal with. It's people like Irina Zarutska had to deal with. And that's...
Yeah, we should deal with like violent offenders better. 100%. This has nothing to do with black people. White people made it have something to do with black people by treating them like shit a long time ago. Not so long ago. What was it, 1965 when black people were considered people on paper? Right? It's not that long ago. It's like your parents were born then. So, you know, at least mine were.
It's just the
1958. So my mother was born when black people were still not considered people. So
uncomfortable reality.
You've also said you don't want to live near black people. Let's take a listen to this clip.
I'm a new generation of white person. I'm not living around blacks. Sorry.
That's not really a new generation. That's what your father said as well. So it's just kind of typical perspective, no? What does that make? How does that make it a new generational perspective? Doesn't even make sense. How did I miss that? What the fuck? Okay, now I'm just bad.
You know, I want white kids, and I don't want my white kids bringing home black people to marry.
Oh, that's weird. I mean, I want white kids too because my wife's white. So if she has a black kid, I'm going to be a little suspicious. But I don't really care if my daughter or son would bring home a black person as long as they're a decent person. But just to be clear, Nick Fuentes is like 27 years old, talks about how marriage should just exist so that you can raise white babies and still doesn't have a partner. He also says you should get married young. So I don't know, like what he's saying doesn't matter. He has no intention of having a kid. He, just like every other debate pervert, Destiny, Hassan, all these people are engaged in arrested development and they just stopped aging the second that they became online influencers. Like, I don't know what else to tell you. So, yeah, this is true though. To Destiny's credit, he was very good at dismantling Nick Fuentes.
It's racial for me. And call me racist. Oh, very Christian of you. I don't give a fuck.
I mean, it couldn't be clearer, really, unless you want to say that's another of your jokes. But you're basically saying, yeah, I'm a racist, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
You're fine with saying you're a racist?
Totally. I think everybody's racist. I think everybody...
That's an interesting redirection. Maybe everybody's a little racist, probably a little different than the Nick Fuentes racism. Might be a little extra, we'd call it.
If we're being honest, is racist. I think everybody... The only people that aren't racist or pretend not to be are white people to their detriment. Everybody else is...
You're white. Don't you say you're white all the time? What do you mean?
Racist.
But earlier in the interview, you got aggrieved at the idea that your father was a racist. You wanted to make emphatically
because
sure
my father's...
He's not.
Because my father doesn't share my same views on that.
So he's the exception to the everyone's a racist.
Well, everybody's a little bit racist. You're right. So maybe everybody... The difference is
I think there's... I mean, like, yeah, he's not, like, wrong in what he's saying. But there's a difference between being a little bit racist versus the type of racist Nick Fuentes is. This is like a reasonability troll. Like, oh, I'm sure he's like, I seem reasonable. Not really. Just seems racist.
You're attacking my father. You know, he could get fired from his job.
I'm not attacking your father.
You are.
No, I'm not.
He's not. Nick Fuentes is to be a crybaby.
I don't know your father. And to be clear, I have no knowledge about him at all
Well, then let's leave him out of it.
Well,
let's leave him out of it.
Why? Why would you leave him out of it? Nick wants you to leave everything out of it, facts, statistics, his own parents, if it doesn't help his narrative. That's literally his entire point.
You don't know him.
Hang on, Nick. You put that story into the public domain on your show. I'm simply reminding you of what you told everybody, millions of people, about your father. If you now want to retract it, fine. If you want to say it was a joke, which is what your position was earlier, fine. But I'm allowed to put to you things you've said publicly. That's not unfair.
I actually wonder if this looks bad for Nick. I mean, like in the online community spaces, you know, that people, everybody's already kind of settled on how they feel. But to the more mainstream audience, this actually might be a really impressive takedown of Nick Fuentes, because so far Nick just comes off like a fucking petulant child.
That's not me targeting your father. You put that story about him out
You know what you're doing. You know what you're...
He's pushing you on your shit. That's not. That's it. Yeah, maybe people should bring up his dad more often now, since he's getting so fucking offended by it.
I'm asking you about a pretty shocking anecdote, which to me looked like you were saying your father made decisions about where you as a family would eat based on skin color of people who worked at these places. If you say, or use them, if you say that is not what you meant, that's fine. You can respond any way you like. But the idea I can't ask you about it without you saying I'm attacking your father is ridiculous.
You know, well, you are, and you know what you're doing, and
that's all he's gonna say. You know what you're doing.
There's a political culture in America where if you have the wrong,
I love how if Piers is just like bringing up his past in like a very respectful way, that is, you know what you're doing, which is AKA a dog whistle to attack his father. But if he sits here and says that he doesn't want to live around black people, that's just like totally normal. Like that's his perspective on this shit is fucking crazy.
Views, you get fired from your job. And my father has a job. And if you go on here and say you charge him with racism or something,
doesn't he own a business though?
And I'm put in a position where I don't look like I'm sticking to my guns if I don't say my father's a racist, you're putting him in jeopardy, and he's not.
Okay, well then maybe he should be more ashamed of his son. I wouldn't put my mother at jeopardy of losing her job. So maybe you're just a shitty son.
Not here to defend himself or explain his views. And it's very low, and I think you know exactly what you're doing. People can see what you're doing.
He's a victim, dude.
My views, and I think that, you know, so let's leave him out of it. Let's just not talk about my father, because my father isn't here. I'm here.
Okay, well, then do you accept that you shouldn't talk?
Okay,
listen, that's fine. But then do you accept you shouldn't talk about your father on your show? And you shouldn't tell.
Absolutely not. Absolutely.
But why wouldn't it, like, why wouldn't your father be at risk of losing his job because of your show? But because Piers Morgan, just because it's more mainstream, that doesn't matter. Like, it doesn't matter if they see what you're saying. That could be a huge issue. So like, he's obviously lying. His dad's like probably fucking retired or something.
Absolutely
so
not.
It's fine for you to put a story out there which would make most people who listened to that story or watched it at the time on your show conclude that he was racist. It's fine for you to do that, but if I then ask you about it, I'm the one who's being unfair and I've crossed a line. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, you're being malicious.
Okay.
Yeah, you're being malicious, dude.
That's fine.
Fuck.
That's fine. Listen, people are watching this live. They can draw their own conclusions about whether what I just did.
And they will.
Yeah, and I'm sure afterwards, by the way, you'll say, he ambushed me with your own words. With your own words.
That's a little presumptuous. I'm not going to.
That's what he probably will do. He's going to play the victim. That's what he's going to do.
Say it's an ambush, but I think that's a low blow. And I think you know what you're doing, and that's fine. You're a tabloid journalist.
You know what you're doing. You're a tabloid journalist. Everything is something to do with Israel. That's the whole. That's it. That's all it is.
I expected that. I don't think it's an ambush because I knew it would be like this, and people will see.
So it is an ambush, but since I estimated it, it's definitely not an ambush, right? So that's the dog whistle. That's the signal you're trying to give people. Is like, hey guys, I'm being ambushed right now.
What you're doing, and I think they'll say it's low. But as far as you want to,
I think they'll say it's low. That's how Donald Trump talks, dude. This is fucking crazy. He's such a Trumper. Holy fuck.
Talk about racism.
I do.
Let's talk about racism.
Okay,
Let's leave my dad out of it.
Look, you've admitted you're a racist, correct?
Yes, 100%.
Okay.
Own it.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay.
You're perfectly entitled in a free democratic society to stare down the barrel of his camera and tell me you're a racist. People can judge you accordingly. Many people who have assumed that you're a racist will now have heard it from your own lips. That's fine.
There you go.
That's the point. The point of this interview is to go over the things you've said, which have led people to reach conclusions about you, and to ascertain whether those conclusions are fair and reasonable or not. That's it.
Thank
so I want
you.
to play you another clip. This is what you talk about why white people are justified in being racist. Let's take a listen to this.
Oh, so I guess white people are racist now? Fuck, I'm losing track. What's the message?
First, white people are every single bit justified in being racist. Every single bit justified, to the extent that means going out of your way to avoid black people when you see them.
Oh, crazy.
You stand by
that? Absolutely.
What? Listen, dude, I don't really give a fuck if you're racist, to be honest with you. I just don't care. You know, you should probably try to work against those racist feelings and thoughts and all that. But at the end of the day, if you have racist feelings, that's whatever, as long as you try to police yourself a little bit and go like, that's wrong. You know what I mean? I don't even care if you avoid certain groups of people, regardless of what color you are. I don't give a fuck. You know, you just shouldn't treat people as less than. You know what I mean? Progress is made every step of the way, dude. Progress is made every step of the way. There are black people who avoid white people. Because, like, you know, white people will treat black people like shit. There's white people that avoid black people. There's this that avoids that. Blah, blah, blah. It's just like how it is, man. You know, we just, it is what it is. I don't think that that's a target of the conversation that needs to be had about reducing racism. You know, the more the target is, like, how do we economically expand ourselves and deal with, like, the problems of, I mean, really, like, rich people fucking us in the ass, especially using technology to take away our jobs. So,
absolutely.
Okay. So white people should go out of their way to avoid black people when they see them.
Absolutely. They would be wise.
Why?
I think that I'm actually kind of surprised here. So Nick Fuentes, I didn't think that the veil would be pulled down so quickly. And the reason isn't because this was a strategy that he wanted to engage in. The reason is because I think that Piers shook him almost instantaneously. And so now Nick is just like, yup, that's me. And like, that's going to be his new strategy because he knows he's not going to get away with the reasonability trolling. The like sounding, oh, I'm reasonable. He doesn't sound reasonable anymore. So he's just doubling down on being fucking insane. And the good thing is he'll get the feedback from Twitter that he did a good job. But like in the real world, people will be like, oh, this guy's like weird. Oh, this guy's a loser. Oh, this guy's like, you know what I mean? That's what's going to come off as.
Because it's a lose-lose proposition.
Why?
If you're Irina Zarutska and you don't walk the other way, you get stabbed to death and you die. If
I mean, I don't think that that's every black person like he's trying to indicate. That was a terrible thing that happened, but it's not every black person. Looking at black people and going, oh, that's indicative of all of them is obviously wrong. So
you're somebody else and you walk on the subway and you stand near a black person or something, maybe it's fine. It's a lose-lose proposition. So no, I think
this is the guy that just lied about like statistics of black murder, but okay.
I think that white people have been beaten into submission, that we're afraid to tell the truth about it. And the truth is that when you go into these major cities like New York or Chicago, I believe she was in North Carolina, there is a menace, which is young, black, adolescent men. They're
adolescent. How old are you when you're an adolescent? Aren't you like a kid? What is adolescence? 10 to 19? Okay.
Extremely violent, and we have been told that we have to pretend like they are every other person. We have to be colorblind to that, and we're supposed to go and be
listen. I'm not trying to be that guy. Maybe I'll be like a little fucking intense here. It doesn't matter about skin color. You can tell by what somebody's wearing. You know, if they're kind of somebody you should avoid or not. Nothing to do with skin color. So do a good job. Stereotype accordingly in public to keep yourself safe, but don't avoid people just because they're black or white or something. I mean, I don't tell you. I'll pretend some way. Okay. It's just fucking stupid and boring. Oh my god. A black person committed a murder. That's all black people. That's his whole argument. It's boring. Like, what are we supposed to do with this? Okay, cool, man. Thanks. You don't like this guy is afraid of black people because this guy is afraid of black people and he looks at black porn. Like he looks at like a fucking bull black porn. That like, you know what I mean? Like, what do you want me to tell you? Like he's not serious. Like he's never like met a black person. He's afraid. You know, I went to school and the demographic of my school is 30% white. Like, I don't care. Like, it's not a fucking issue. Like, shut up. Holy fuck.
Be in the midst of all this danger. And I think that at this point, it's gotten out of control. Whoa. You look at the BLM movement, they said that the reason that black people, are violent, or the reason there's crime, is because of police brutality.
Historically, kind of, yeah, a little bit.
Redlining or all these other things.
Yeah, redlining, forcing black people into certain communities and out of other communities. After the Vietnam War, you were able to come in like Long Island and get like really good loans for a house, unless you were black. If you were a black veteran, you didn't get shit. So I wonder if that had an impact on anything. Whoa, crazy. Wow. One of the biggest groups of people that were like vaccine skeptics, like one of the lowest rates of vaccine like taking, was black people, because they were like they don't trust the government. Yeah, I guess. Okay, so how do we change that? Even if you look at like Michael Brown, I don't know if people remember Michael Brown. So that was a situation where he charged a police officer. I think people probably remember that. He charged a police officer, and the DOJ statistics showed that like the police officer was justified in his response to it, 100%. But what you need to keep in mind for context is that the DOJ report also talked about how there was constant policing and over ticketing of the black Americans in that area. And so like this is what systemic racism looks like, right? It's not quite black and white. Isn't that so funny how I did that? Right? So like, yeah, there's a level of truth to that. I think it's something to keep in mind for context. Okay.
They said we need to get rid of the police. We need to defund them. And a lot of cities did. A lot of cities like Chicago, for example, the police changed the rules of engagement. They don't chase them.
So because we did the wrong thing, we need to just throw it out and double down on over like attacking black people. Like even, what was it? There was like a crime bill that happened. Joe Biden supported it. Actually, a lot of people supported it. Even Democrats, Republicans, they supported it being like harsher on crime. That actually led to more people, like black people, being going to jail in like a negative way. I remember they talked about like the bill, like whatever bill from like the 90s or whatever. That was like another example of systemic racism, because it was like over policing and over harsh sentences that had a substantially negative impact, but we just didn't know about that. Yeah, there's a much more delicate balance of the way we need to interact with a lot of these things. So
it's not a felony if you steal
from the 90s. Yeah, from the 90s.
A certain amount of merchandise.
Stop and frisk. Yeah, Clinton pushed it. Yeah, there you go. That was not good. That didn't exactly help. It took people that were like had like minor offenses and fucked them in the ass. So
won't chase them on foot. And now the city's totally up for grabs. Whoa, and now whether you're in the Gold Coast or whether you're on the Mag Mile or you're in the worst neighborhoods in the city, you might get shot, you might get mugged, someone might run up on you. And I tell my followers, it is better to be perceived as racist or racist and walk the other way and maybe keep your life than to say, I'm a good anti-racist. I don't mind that this person's making me uncomfortable. Maybe he's looking a little froggy. I'm going to sit down because I'm a good person and get stabbed, mugged, whatever. And by the way, this is a strategy. They call it the friendly stranger. There's a crew of them. They do this in Chicago. This
is Nick Fuentes' strategy, I guess, being the friendly stranger, appearing like he's not going to be a threat and then saying racist shit.
Stand outside bars, black people. They approach strangers. It's a robbery crew, and they pretend to be a friendly stranger, and then they mug them. And
is that all black people? Or like, I don't understand. Like, this is the conversation isn't do black people do bad things sometimes. The conversation is it all black people? And his indication is that, yes, it's all black people.
Stupid white people say, oh, hi, yeah, nice to meet you. They grin, they laugh, they put up with the nonsense, and then they get mugged, or worse. Sometimes they get executed. And so as a white person...
How do you feel about mass shootings at school?
I think they're bad.
Who do you think commits the vast majority of the mass shootings?
I'm sure it's white people.
Yeah, so do you think that that's a white-specific issue, or do you think that that's just something going on? Like, how would you attribute that to people being white, would be the question to ask here.
Right. So how do you feel about that?
I think that white people do more antisocial violence. I think black people participate in more gang violence. I think that.
Why? Why do you think that that's like that? Do you think that there's something inherent about white people that makes them more antisocial? Do you think that there's something inherent about black people that makes them want to join gangs more? Or do you think that there is an issue of historical systemic racism taking away jobs from black people? Like, what do you think it is? I mean, not for nothing, if we want to talk about inherent violence, I mean, white people conquered the world. If you want to talk about what's the most violent person is, I mean, I don't know, maybe we should start with that conversation. But
That's the difference.
What's the difference to the victims?
There's no difference to the victim, but it's a different kind of crime, and it's a different proportion also. Do you know what percentage of white people are school shooters?
I know that the vast majority of mass shootings in schools in America this century were perpetrated by young white men. And I'm
and
just
what proportion
I'm curious. What proportion? I'm curious whether your advice would be to people who have kids in these schools.
Is my mic working?
Should they?
What proportion?
Should they?
See, just to be clear, this is Nick Fuentes' entire thing. He will ramble on an info dump, and then if you tried to move on, or if you think he's done talking and you start talking, he will criticize you for interrupting him. But then he won't let you finish a point, and he'll be like, "Oh my, can you hear me? Can you hear me?" It's like this slimy little thing, that his followers would say is associated with a particular group of people. Like, that's the way that he would talk, not me, but that's what his followers would do. They would say like, "Oh, you're talking like a particular demographic we don't like." So I think it's something to keep in mind that his own followers wouldn't like this tactic.
Should they avoid white people at school? Should people with the kids at school avoid young white men at school?
No.
Okay.
Do you know what per capita means? Do you know?
But this isn't a per capita conversation, right? We're having a conversation about people in school versus people on the street. So, yes, there might be fewer white people that shoot up schools, but there's also a much smaller sample size of people inside of the school.
Proportionality. There are more black people proportionally that engage in violent crime or are involved in gangs.
I really hope the next question is, why do you think that? I would really hope that that's the next question.
Especially in these major cities, than there are white people that are school shooters compared to the entire white population, and everybody understands that.
Yeah, but so why do you think that?
Two-thirds of...
He's not going to ask that question. It's Piers, come on. Stop being fucking stupid.
Mass shootings at school perpetrated...
Yes, I think the mass shooting thing to bring up was a good idea, but you need to, now push back in a more meaningful way. What do you, why do you think that is the question that needs to be asked.
By white people.
But what proportion of white men commit school shootings? That's the question.
I've just told you. It's 60-65% of school shootings by white people.
You're telling me what proportion of school shootings are committed by white people. I'm saying what proportion of white people have committed school shootings. Whoa. Are you playing dumb, or are you just not that smart?
What difference does that make to the children lying dead on the ground?
See, now you want to jump on the victims. The difference is you're asking, would you fear white people or black people? And that's the difference. The difference is in terms
what I'm saying
of
to you is, by your logic, if we now have agreed that the vast majority of mass shootings in schools are committed by white people and predominantly young white men, then presumably your advice would be to avoid young white men because they perpetrate these massacres. But it won't be because they're white, right?
So are you playing?
So the question that you would ask at this point is okay, so at what point does it become acceptable to be afraid of a particular group of people? How much violence needs to be associated with a particular group of people before you decide that you need to avoid them? And then he'll give out some random statistic, and you say you ask Nick Fuentes, do you think black people are more violent? He's gonna say yes. And you say so then how did white people conquer the world? If black people are more inherently violent, then how did white people conquer the world? I imagine it takes a certain level of violence to conquer the world. This is the question that will stump all of them. And what he'll respond with is based. That's all, because he has nothing. So he'll just pretend that's cool. But then this is what you're trying to do, is just expose him. He thinks white violence is okay. He doesn't care. He doesn't give a shit. Right? So this is kind of the way you have to operate with some of these things. You just got to be a little more careful, I guess you'd say.
Dumb, or are you actually dumb?
Maybe
it's
I'm
about
dumb.
Proportionality.
Maybe I'm dumb.
You are because you're, I don't think you are dumb. I think you're smart, actually, but you're deliberately avoiding per capita. And everybody knows that's the difference.
Notice how he melted down about him bringing up a reasonable question about his dad being racist, but now he's calling him stupid. This is the Nick Fuentes tactic. And what happens is whatever you think of Piers is a more masculine individual than Nick Fuentes. So when Piers Morgan says something humiliating or insulting about somebody, it comes off with more weight because he's a more threatening individual. But Nick Fuentes' entire tactic is to be a little baby and to be I'm 5 foot tall, and just little and wormy and That's it. That's the whole tactic has always been. So it comes off as, I guess, less spooky from Nick Fuentes. That's his whole entire thing.
Difference. What proportion of white men are school shooters? It's probably 0.00001%. What proportion of black men have committed violent crimes? It's probably like 5%. I don't know.
Why would you do black men versus white kids in school? Doesn't that like, that doesn't even make sense. This comparison doesn't even make sense, and he knows that it doesn't make sense. But
it is off the top of my head, but it's very high. And I would add to that, even as it concerns schools, why do you think parents pay a super high property tax to live in a school district where there's white people? Because they know that if they go to the black school, it's going to be the Bloods and the Crips. It's going to be gangs. It's going to be,
so why wouldn't you criticize the government for not dealing with this gang violence? How come you wouldn't have that issue? I don't understand.
You talk about school shootings. Nobody talks about all the school shootings that are committed by gangbangers in and around the school, and all the other violence that's associated with that. I mean, these schools in the south side of Chicago, it's just not livable.
I have an answer for you, Nick. So the proportion of the population who carry out mass shootings is actually the same for black and white.
For white people, the proportion of
the proportion
again,
of the
are
population.
you hearing it? No.
So I think the trouble with your
proportion?
statistics is a lot of them don't bear much scrutiny. We have a bunch of fact checkers checking all this.
Well, I want him to explain what he's saying, because if Piers Morgan is saying, like, hey, when you break it down to the number of white people that are in school, the statistic, versus like the number of, I guess, all black people on the street, because that's what the comparison is here. That's something I brought up, like, oh, it's the same. Maybe that's what he means, and I wouldn't doubt it. But you need to clarify that, because people are just gonna be like, oh, this guy's being stupid. That's probably what it means. But he's probably getting somebody in his ear telling him something, and he may not actually know exactly what the statistic says
in real time, because you do have a tendency to just come out with a lot of old baloney. And when you say,
okay,
well, it's true. And when you're confronted with
the
reality,
figure?
you don't like it.
What's the figure? What proportion of white people have committed school shootings? With white people as the denominator, and white people...
That's not what you would do as the denominator. You do like white kids in school, inside of schools. That's what you would do.
That have committed school shootings as the numerator. What's that percentage?
For both,
that's not how you would do it.
Black and whites, the proportion of the population who carry out mass shootings generally is about the same.
Oh, that doesn't really help his argument. But okay, great. So he's just saying that, like, there's the same proportionality to white and black school shootings. Okay, that doesn't really help your argument. That's fine to say, though. I mean, what you're going to do with that? What I would do with that was say, like, oh, see, when it comes to school shootings, the per capita number for both black and white is actually, like, the same. So why do you think that black and white kids act the same in school, generally speaking, but when they get out of school, they act differently? What do you think that is? Then you can have a conversation about the environmental impacts on black people, or just on poor people in general, really. Actually, no, it's black people, because there's no, like, there isn't the same, like, historical oppression of, like, just poor people as like poor black people is, like, an additional historical, oppression. So
no, tell me the number, and
yet the only focus of your attention is the black shootings, the black crime. You don't want to live around black people. You want to avoid black people. You don't want interracial marriages or relationships that may produce black people. And yet, when I point out to you that there are many parts of crime in America where actually there's a majority of white people that perpetrate them, you don't care. You don't have any interest in that. It doesn't exercise your mind. Maybe because
no one's buying this. This argument lost. No one is buying this. Everybody understands per capita, and people can even see what you race ahead and say, well, we're comparing the proportion of white and black school shooters. I said, no, compare the proportion of school shooters that are white versus violent criminals that are black, because that was the basis of the monologue.
That's not the basis of the monologue. It would be, but okay. Like I said, it would be, I guess, just shooters that are black versus white kids that shoot up schools or something. I don't know. Like, it doesn't, like, the conversation has become unproductive in the way that it's been had. Again, he needs to get him into a position and, like, ask him why he thinks that the numbers are higher for black people.
Is that you're very likely, if you encounter black people or a young black man in the city, that you're going to be the victim of a violent crime. Yeah,
but the city is different. So, like, wouldn't you have a conversation about, like, what's going on in the city? Like, what's the issue in the city? Like, do you think that it's only black? Like, do you think that only black people would act the exact same way if they were given the same conditions historically?
Robbery, a mugging, a car theft, a carjacking, or a murder. That's the difference. And it's about proportionality. And everybody sees past that because we all live in reality. You want to talk about product of your environment. People that live in New York, Chicago, LA, we live in reality. We live in this environment.
So he's doing the product of the environment for the people that live there that are he would consider victimized. What about the people there that are committing crime? Do you think that they're a product of their environment? This question needs to be asked because Nick Fuentes thinks that black people are inherently more violent, despite the fact that white people are much better at dominating the world and like attacking other countries.
We see what it's like. And
like you can't call black people more violent and then talk about how white people have conquered everything. It doesn't work. Those two statements do not make sense together. They literally do not. You don't get to have it both ways. And that's what people like Nick Fuentes like to do. They like to try to have it both ways. They like to say that black people are more violent inherently, and then at the same time they'll be like, oh, white people are really based for conquering the world. By the way, the people that think that's based usually can't get good jobs because they're incredibly stupid and they want white DEI by making it so that you can discriminate against black people for getting a job. So
the threat, the danger in terms of probability it's not even comparable. And I would say this to your point. If you're in a high school and truly, if you see a white person who looks like a little autistic, he's got the SSRI stare and he reaches for a backpack, people joke and say, run. Similarly, if you see a jalopy pulling up with a bunch of black people in it and they got their pants around the ankles, you're going to run also. But
this is a different conversation, right? So again, right? So even I said before, like you can tell, like, listen, I'm not going to be that guy, but if you look at somebody, sometimes you can tell if they're going to be, potentially an issue. Nothing to do with your skin color, but like you can tell by the way somebody dresses. So when it comes to a white kid, it's like, oh, the way they dress. But then he's talking about black people, and it's just black people. Do you understand this? Like he's never clarified that, like, oh, it's like, oh yeah, you can tell by the way somebody dresses or acts or something. He's like, no, black people. That's his whole argument. He gets very nuanced when it comes to white violence, but he gets all of a sudden he becomes incredibly stupid when it comes to fucking any other type of violence from any other non-white group.
And I'm saying the same thing. The difference is the latter happens much more often. It's much more common. In Chicago, there's like 10,000 carjackings and car thefts every day. It's in the thousands. It happens all the time. How many mass shootings committed by autistic SSRI white people? I don't even know. I mean,
SSRI? What? Oh, he's saying people that have mental issues. Isn't that funny that when it comes to black people, it's all black people. When it comes to white people, it's because it's actually mental health. There's always an excuse to separate the violence from white people.
And it's probably in the single digits in the last decade in this city. That's the difference, and everybody knows that. But you're really just trying to carry water for liberal ideology. It's an ideological position.
I'm really not. I can absolutely say yes. There is way too much black on black crime, for example, involving guns in Chicago.
And black on white also.
Yeah, there's too much crime in general. Absolutely. But again, why? Ask why, Piers. Be a little bit more educated. You got 15 people in your fucking ear. Push them on something. Jesus Christ.
Yes, but there is way too much gun violence in Chicago, right? I mean, it's indisputable. I've got no problem saying that. The difference is I don't then lead myself into a thought process where I have to avoid all black people in case they shoot me. And you've already conceded that you...
Yeah, and again, like it's not like Nick Fuentes is just talking about black people on the street. He got pushed before when his dad was talking about, and he agrees with this, how it's okay to avoid certain restaurants if the clientele is black, right? So it doesn't have to do... It's just avoid black people. That's all Nick Fuentes thinks.
You are a racist. So when people hear you then say, I don't want to be living anywhere near black people, they already have heard you say, I'm a racist. So they assume you're doing that because of people's skin color.
Yes, he's racist, yes.
I think you would probably dispute that, right?
Well, you're separating two different things. The monologue when I said I don't want to live around black people, that was after Irina Zarutska got shot. And it's true. I mean, they are a largely in this city, in Chicago, the South Side, the West Side, huge criminal population. And I don't want to live anywhere near it. And
that's fine to not want to live near a criminal population. But again, like when we ask why he thinks that there is a disproportionately bigger criminal population here, does he think it's inherent or does he Is he going to acknowledge like, you know, different different environmental factors?
And I do. I want to live in a white neighborhood. I think that that's extremely desirable, and I think even
Nick,
black people do.
Nick, you're perfectly entitled to that view. But when you have obviously prefaced all this by saying, I am a racist, unashamedly, then people will assume that all your thought processes about all of these issues are driven by an aversion to people based on their skin color, which is the purest personification of racism.
Well, it's not an aversion. I would say it's the opposite. I like my own people. My own people are familiar to me, and I.
That's not the same thing. There's a difference between liking people that are familiar to you versus disliking black people. For the first half an hour of this conversation, it's about how much he doesn't like black people. So it's not about how you prefer white people more. It's about how you don't like black people. What he's saying is obviously a lie.
I think that's true across the board. I think that people seek out other people that are like themselves, and every other group does this, whether it's...
We all do it, true. Doesn't mean it's justified to hate another group.
Blacks, Hispanics, Asians.
But he'll say he doesn't actually hate them, and he'll just like be like, no, I don't actually hate them. I just don't want to live around them. That's what he'd say. So,
you know, I get a lot of attacks when I talk about that I'm against interracial marriage. And what's funny is that every other group is against interracial or interethnic marriage.
Every group, yeah, that's idiots are. Like, racism is low IQ behavior. That is a changing perspective. There's plenty of white people who still are against interracial. I don't know what he's talking about.
Jews,
but you're the
Chinese,
you're the product of an interracial marriage.
I always love it. I always love this when he does this, because like, just to be clear, he doesn't think that Jewish people are white. That's like the funniest part. So like when it comes to Italian people who used to not be considered white, they're white. Greek people who used to not be considered white, they're white. Irish people used to not be considered white, they're white. It's always really just been European people, and then that slowly has changed as like our concept of what white is. But Jewish people, white as fuck, doesn't matter. They're not white because Nick hates Jewish people. That's it. He doesn't consider Jewish people white. I just need you guys to understand this. Like he's a fucking baby about it, but it's like, so it's just something I think that needs to be acknowledged.
Yeah, I mean that's debatable.
Not
Let's
really.
say for the sake of argument, sure.
No.
Jews,
But you're the
Chinese,
product of an
Hispanics.
interracial marriage.
Yeah, I mean that's debatable.
I mean, it depends on who it is. You wouldn't debate that because you wouldn't consider a Hispanic person white, even if they like literally had the skin color of white. I would. People get mad at me when I do that, but I don't give a fuck. What the fuck? But like, yeah. But you wouldn't. If you think Jews aren't white, then that means that you don't think Hispanic people are white, just to be clear. So, what the fuck's happening?
Not really.
For the sake of argument, sure.
No, you're the product of an interracial marriage, and your father is part Mexican. You're literally,
for the sake of argument,
the very person you've just told me you want to avoid.
What race is Hispanic? Is that a race?
What?
Well, what do you think it is?
Is Mexican not a race? I don't understand the question.
I'm asking you, what race is Hispanic?
Hispanic, of course it's a race. It's called Hispanic.
It's a mix between two races. It's a mix between indigenous Americans
it's not
and
white,
Europeans.
though, is it?
Indigenous Americans and Europe. So wait. wait. So for Spanish people or something? Do you think that he thinks that Native Americans are actually white? Wait. No, of course not. He's fucking trolling so hard right now. What a fucking... He's so full of shit. Holy fuck.
It's not white.
Well, you're more of a racial purist than me. You got like
Not
a
really.
one-drop.
You think that Jewish people are not white. You are a racial purist.
Just keep saying you only want to live in a
Kind of.
white neighborhood, but you're literally from a mixed race background yourself. You've literally
and I
got
live in
Mexican blood.
I know, and I live in a non-white neighborhood too. I'm trying to get out of here, though. But I'm trying to get out. But here's
But you're rich. Why can't you get out?
the thing.
Do you have any?
Wait, this doesn't make any sense. He lives in a non-white neighborhood? Wait, to me, that's a self-report. What the fuck? Why doesn't he just get out then? I don't understand. Oh fuck. Why, it doesn't even make any sense. He has the money. Why doesn't he just get out of that neighborhood? What?
Non-white. Do you have any
How are Jews white? Because they have the skin color of white.
non-white friends?
I don't know why. I guess I should have expected there to be a lot of fucking morons in here that like Nick Fuentes, a lot of antisocial like incels that have never had sex before in their life and couldn't. Like, I don't know.
Genuine question.
Most of my friends are non-white.
Hey, Nick Fuentes fan 24. Can you explain to me why Nick Fuentes hasn't moved to a non-white area even though he's rich? What is it about the living in a non-white area that he likes more? He keeps talking like he wants to not live there, but he still lives there apparently.
Friends are not, and non-white people love my show.
How many
because
are,
they
how many are
respect
black?
the honesty.
How many of your friends are black?
What a question. Great.
Many of them, like at least a dozen.
Wow, he knows a dozen black people. That's fucking crazy, dude.
Wow.
Guess what to name them. He's just gonna start naming stereotypical names.
Ye being one who you know, Sneeko being another who you also know.
Yeah.
Oh, right. I think he has like a black dad or something. Sneeko's white. Get the fuck out of here, dude.
So how do they feel
Asians are white plus, guys? I don't care. That's the take. That's the take.
when you say you just want to be away from any black people, walk away from them?
Well, you know what Ye told me? I'll tell you verbatim what he said. That it doesn't come from a place of, and you use the word aversion. That's the first thing I'll actually dispute.
Okay.
It's not an aversion on the basis of skin color, because that would seem to suggest it's like a stubborn, irrational bigotry. I don't consider myself a bigot. I consider myself a racial realist.
Yes, that is a bigot. That's just another word for a bigot.
I'm realistic about how the races are, and I speak provocatively about it. And I speak provocatively about our tribalistic instincts and tendencies as human beings.
Yeah, we have tribalistic instincts and tendencies. But what's so funny about this is that like he's somebody who claims to be a man of God. God is literally, the Bible is literally exists to separate men from animals. So it kind of doesn't really work when you do stuff like this. Oh, people are just like tribalist by nature. Oh, they're just tribalist by nature. It's just like a natural thing. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. That's great that you keep saying that. But then like, you believe in the Bible that's about separating yourself from your baser animal instincts. So which one is it? Like, you know, like which one is it? It's very convenient for him that he just changes. Every his worldview shifts on a dime. It's because his whole worldview is just to hate black people indiscriminately and pretend he doesn't, because he likes to do the reasonability troll. That's it.
And I'm not a liberal ideologue that says that over time and with enough education, we're all going to see this great brotherhood where we're colorblind and everybody's the same. You know, I don't think that's ever going away. I think that race is real. It's not just skin deep.
But it's not, right? I mean, it is, but it isn't. It's a social construct. That's why you think Italians are white. Because that's literally it. And they are, because it's just like the way that we perceive things. That's all it is.
It matters to us and it matters to each other. And black people know that, and Hispanics know that, and Asians know that. And people like me that have partial Mexican ancestry, we know that too. And I think on that basis, we can have mutual respect and understanding, not aversion based on skin color.
The reason I use the word aversion is you literally...
Well, you want to literally avert yourself from black spaces. Like, you don't want to be around black people, so that is an aversion, yeah.
...said that you should walk the other way if you see black people. That is an aversion to black people based on their skin color.
No.
Yes, it is.
No, that's called economy of information. That's economy of information. That's safety. And I said in the same monologue, if you watch it, it's like, I feel sorry. The problem is you clip the 10 seconds. I don't know if you watched the whole show, but in that monologue, I said, most black people are not violent or criminals. I said, and it's unfortunate that we're going to offend them when we turn and walk the other way. I said, but the problem is we don't know. We can't tell.
This is the first time you've ever said anything indicating that, because everything else that you say is basically talking about how black people are more violent. This is the first time that he says, it's not most black people. Why is that buried into, you know, however many minutes of the conversation instead of like an immediately type of a thing? Okay.
And someone like Irina Zarutska, she sat down in front of a black man with her headphones in and wasn't paying attention because she was being a good liberal and said, I'm not uncomfortable by this. I'm progressive. Then she got stabbed in the neck. And I said, it's unfortunate that you would have to sit behind the black man to be safe. And if he's not violent or schizophrenic, he might be offended by that. I said, but I would.
Yes, he did say most black people should be in jail. He's just hiding his power level. That's all it is. He has a different answer based on what he feels like he could say. So now that he feels locked into a corner, he's saying these things. And his audience won't really care because they're going to be like, yeah, I know he has to do that. That's literally it.
How many deranged white men have committed atrocious acts of murder in the last 10 years in America?
Proportionally far fewer.
But how
far
many?
fewer.
How many? Do you know how many?
You have a research team. You pull it
No,
up. I don't have
you're
it in
very
front of
big
me.
on. You're obviously
Why
extremely
doesn't he have a research team?
exercised by that one story, which was horrific for the record, absolutely horrific, and should never have happened. The person who perpetrated that evil act had a string of previous offences and should have been picked up more, and it should have been amplified more. I completely concur with all of that, but I don't.
Wouldn't that be like white people's fault, like the judge's fault for not putting him away and being harsher on crime? Why would that be black people's fault? And they don't usually have as much control of the criminal justice system.
I just suspect you have no idea how many white people have committed similar crimes, do you?
No, because I know it's far fewer from
Okay.
experience.
Okay.
Because it's like you said. Well, and hang on. And I would add to that, Irina Zarutska wasn't the first one. That was also after Austin Metcalf was killed in Texas.
Sure.
After
But
Carmelo
how many
Anthony
times has it
stabbed
been
him in the
perpetrated
neck.
by white people?
Well, hang on. Let me finish my point.
But you're
And then
implying
I don't think that this is the right line of questioning, because the conversation Nick Fuentes wants to have is very stupid. He wants to have a very like low IQ conversation about like, hey, look, a bad person did a bad thing, and he wants to assign that to black people as like a dog whistle, but really like a very in your face dog whistle. So what you need to do is ask about root cause, right? So that other girl, Irene, that was like stabbed, but like what was the real issue there is that somebody committed crimes and then kept getting out and didn't get correct prison sentences. And it's like, okay, well, like what color was the judge? Probably a white person. It's like a lot of white people have a lot of control over the system. It's like, oh, why don't you think that we've done this? And like, why don't we do this? And what's going on with this? And ask questions about that. But I don't know if Piers can or doesn't want to have the conversation, or doesn't think it would be productive, or maybe he doesn't want to talk about like maybe he's not interested or doesn't think it'll be productive to have a conversation about some kind of systemic oppression. Maybe that's like something he's like has an aversion to. I don't really know.
White people don't do this. And my point to you, Nick Fuentes, is of course,
Oh, I never said white people don't do
Of course,
it.
deranged white people commit heinous acts. But you don't either know.
No disagreement.
You neither know nor care, or maybe both. Maybe you do know but don't care. You only seem to be focused on black people who commit crimes. And again, if you hadn't prefaced the whole debate about racism by openly conceding you are a racist, I could read other connotations into what you've been saying. But once you've said, I'm a racist.
Damn, the judge was black. Fuck, dude. Wait a minute. It's a whole fucking deep-seated thing. Damn. Well, I guess that owns me, huh? You're saying the judge was black. But it was like, didn't he have like a rap sheet of like 20 different issues? I think it was multiple judges, okay?
And then you only talk about black crime. I think people can watch this and they can say, yeah, he's a racist. And everything that he says about crime is driven through the prism of being a racist who judges people according to their skin color.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, it's funny because it's quite on the contrary. And I said that.
Oh, really? Despite all the evidence? Interesting.
In a similar monologue.
Wow.
The problem is not that I wake up and I walk down the street and I see someone that doesn't look like me and it makes me angry. The problem
you probably don't leave your house, though, in any meaningful capacities. So what does this mean?
is there's a pattern of behavior, which we've all seen. Blacks in America have become narcissistic, and they become narcissistic because they've been told they're victims of racism. They're victims of slavery. They've been told.
Well, they are, right? Now that's like the conversation is much more, it needs to be much more nuanced than that. You can't just like personally fail and blame racism, but like, yeah, that is generally true. It just needs to be a productive conversation. We've gotten to a point now where people are not having the right conversation about what their issues are. Right. So like, even when it comes to mental health stuff, somebody's like, oh my God, I'm quirky and I have ADHD. It's like, okay, I have like actual real ADHD, not like white TikTok ADHD. What's the point of knowing that? It's like the point of knowing that is so that you can engage in protocols to like overcome whatever issues come from that. Right. It's not to make an excuse for bad behavior. So we have like a victimhood issue all across the board. People are weaponizing their mental health to be victims. People are weaponizing their race, their gender, their sex in both directions. It's not just feminism. The entire manosphere movement is a victim complex of young men blaming the problems that basically, society has caused them, specifically through lack of the ability to get a fucking job and the rise of the internet that makes people more antisocial. Blame that on women. But there's like MAGA is a victim movement as well, like saying that like everything is stolen from us and every conspiracy theory that we've ever conceived of is true, because a lot of these people in some instances are very uneducated and want to feel smart about something. So like, you know, this is what it is, right? This is what it is. And I find it so interesting that we only zero in when it comes to like Black Lives Matter or black people victimizing themselves based on their ethnicity, even though there are some instances where it is valid. But we don't talk about any of these other ones, not a single time. The entire anti-DEI movement from white people is a victim complex of white people who typically are uneducated, that are like upset that they can't get jobs just for being white anymore. They want to remove black people from the job pool so they can get a job, but they don't really realize that the reason they can't get a job is because fucking billionaires are automating your jobs away, and they don't pay enough taxes to create more money that flows to the economy to create more jobs for you to actually work. Like, that's it. Everybody's a fucking victim complex. Stupid. But he only acknowledges when it's black people, of course.
Really, there's no accountability. If they're rude, if they're inconsiderate, if they're criminal, they are told that they have no agency for their actions.
Aren't like most people in the, isn't like disproportionately more black people in the criminal justice system? How is there no accountability?
They're being told, if you act in this way, it's because the white man made you that way. It's because the system's rigged against you. And so we have been telling black people this for a generation, and now there's no rules. Now they go, and what we hate to see as decent people, not even as white people, but decent people, even black people too, what we hate to see is rudeness, obnoxiousness, inconsideration, criminality, violence. And that's that pattern of behavior that we see all over social media, on
so
the
just
body
to be clear,
cam footage,
you don't like black people who play the victim and are rude. Is that your position?
I don't like that pattern of behavior.
And who are narcissists?
I see where this is going.
Yeah, you're ahead of me.
Turn this around on me.
You're ahead of me, aren't you? Because when I said,
I guess I don't really see where it's going. But.
Very clever.
What black friends have you got? You said,
I am kind of black, aren't I?
No, not that. You said,
I'm
not saying you. I'm just saying your choice of.
He's memeing. That's why he's saying that he's black. That's he's memeing right now. So
black friend is Ye, who is arguably the #1 black victimhood narcissist in America. Do you understand the problem? So he's your friend. He's one of the very few black people you want to be associated with, but he's the epitome of what you just said you abhor about narcissistic black people.
I mean, yeah, true. Like, Ye is somebody that's struggling deeply with mental health issues, and he blames all his problem on Jewish people. It's like, yeah, he has a victimhood complex. 1,000%. That's actually a really good point from Piers.
I disagree with you, and I'll tell you why. Because
he's my friend.
If you've ever met him in real life.
I have, yeah.
Okay, well, then you know. He's
okay, well, you didn't know Piers met Ye in real life? That's actually kind of weird to not know that. I feel like that's common knowledge now.
He's nothing but polite, considerate.
Actually, he was very rude to me the last 2 times I interviewed him. He's a supreme narcissist, and he's also...
Well, you keep interrupting me. You're very rude. Are you black?
Because
you're being very rude by...
Whoa, we're memeing, guys. If we can make people laugh, we can get our message across, guys. Look at that.
Interrupting me right now.
To you.
I'm giving you a hard time, but I do want to finish my point. I do want to finish.
Well, Piers was in the middle of making a point, so why would you go into an assure point? It doesn't make any sense. It's like, what? Okay, incredible.
My point about Ye, he is a guy who, when I was with him, wanted to make sure that everybody was heard, everybody felt included. He's actually a very soft-spoken guy.
Wow, DEI guy, huh? Everybody could be heard. Inclusiveness, we love that.
Very polite. And by the way,
By the way, Nick Fuentes will sit quietly in a corner for Ye because he just wants to attach himself to his name to become more mainstream. And it worked, by the way. So he's sitting here, he's like, oh, Ye was a nice guy. Nick just wants to attach himself to Ye, or wanted to, because he got like mainstream attention and appeal from it. What?
Violent. When you look at all the rappers that are in the music game, many of them, especially from Chicago, drill rap, they're talking about killing people, shooting.
Yes, drill rap is not good. What's okay?
People, they gangbang. He notably, if you know about him, he got his start because he was a nerd. He wore a backpack and a polo, and he wasn't a gangbanger. He rapped about his feelings and girls and his dreams and his ambitions. So no, and by the way, he would tell me all the time, he doesn't even feel black. They make him feel. not black because he doesn't do those things.
Is that why you like him? Because he's a black guy that doesn't feel black? Does it make you feel better because of that?
Because he's soft-spoken, because he's artistic, because he's a bit of a nerd or likes fashion. So I would disagree. He's actually not like that at all.
Okay.
We're talking
he's also a Hitler-loving anti-Semite. And we're going to take a little commercial break here, and we're going to come back about...
Oh, we're memeing, but I'm just kidding, guys. Because nobody could use jokes as a way to actually express our real perspectives.
Talk about anti-Semitism and your views about Jewish people, and indeed what Yair said about the same subject matter.
Get ready for Meme Central. Whoa.
Angel Studios are back with a new must-see documentary. Wow. It's called Thank You, Dr. Fauci, and you're going to hear a lot more about it over the next few months. Award-winning filmmaker Jenna First digs into the origins of COVID-19, a possible bio-arms race with China, and claims about
sounds like a conspiracy.
history's biggest public...
Sounds like they're call COVID a conspiracy. Interesting to platform Nick Fuentes in a negative way and then promote conspiratorial bullshit, but okay, incredible.
Health cover-up. It's not a right-wing film
or
a
left-wing film. The ads,
it's a film
guys.
about transparency, which is something we should all care about. First pulls over documents and interrogates scientists, intelligence professionals, and whistleblowers. It's being described as Oppenheimer meets Outbreak.
Whoa.
If you've ever wondered what really happens behind closed doors, you'll want to see it. Angel Studios is powered by its guild members voting on real stories. You can find out more at angel.com/Piers.
Voting sounds democratic.
Become a member, stream Thank You, Dr. Fauci, and be part of a conversation demanding truth and accountability.
Wow, that's beautiful. I love that so much.
Okay, back with Nick Fuentes. Let's just turn to anti-Semitism. In your interview with Stephen Crowder last week, you answered emphatically that you don't hate all Jews. Is that correct? That's your position?
Guys, I don't hate them. I just wish they didn't exist around me. That's his whole thing. Like, okay, we get it. He's boring. It's boring. It's boring. We know that. We know that that's what he does. I don't hate them. I just don't want them around me. We get it.
Yes.
Okay. So I want to play you this clip.
Well, I don't hate any Jews. Let me just amend that. I don't hate any Jews.
Okay. Let's play this clip.
Oh, okay.
The reason I've had it is because my opposition to world Jewry and Israel is rooted in absolute, uncontestable fact. We have the truth on our side. That's why we're winning. Because we are telling the truth about the historical antagonism between Jews and Europeans. Between
the historical antagonism? What are you talking about? What the fuck is he on about?
Jews and Christians. The theological, historical, racial, cultural, and political antagonisms between organized Jewry and the Christians, organized Jewry and Europeans.
The Jewry? What the fuck? Holy Jesus Christ. I love this because, like, historically, Jews have been treated like shit. That's the funniest part about this whole thing.
And the reason that we are winning that argument is
but all of a sudden, it's like, no, Jews have been antagonistic of us. Isn't the Jewish religion, like, the original one? Like, your entire life is based off of Jewish people. That's your whole... Like, do you see this? Do you remember when I was saying earlier, and people, like, I was like, oh, we've always seen differences in religion and stuff. And you're like, no. Jewish is just like another Christian, dude. It's just like, it's the First Testament. It's the original one, exclusively. So it's just like, dude, like, this is what I'm talking about. You know how close Jews and Christians are? They're very close comparatively. It's the same fucking religion plus a DLC. It's like, wow, still the same game, just a little different. So give me a fucking break.
Because it's real. It's true. I can prove it. I can show you. I can name the names. I can show you the paper trail, the money. Whoa. That is why we're winning. Money. That is why all of this is raising the consciousness.
When you say you have this opposition to world Jewry, I mean, it's one thing to criticize, for example, the Israeli government over what it's been doing in Gaza. I've done that myself.
Yeah, I think it's reasonable, obviously, to criticize the Israeli government specifically.
When you talk about world Jewry, I presume you're talking about the 15 million Jews in the world, and you are opposed to them.
It's true. Jesus was a Jew. Still is, I think, if he's real, I guess, right?
How does that square with your position that you don't hate any Jews?
Well, you see, Piers, I'm going to overcomplicate the question, and I'm going to answer it really dumb.
Oh, do you take issue with my use of the term world Jewry?
Well, what do you mean by that?
He wants to redirect the conversation. That's what he wants to do. To make you seem like you're too sensitive because he's using a weird term for Jewish people that would be considered anti-Semitic. He wants to stun lock you into that.
Well, do you take issue with it? Do you have a problem with that?
Clarify what you mean by it.
Well, it's funny you bring that up. The gaslighting's crazy because I use that expression on my show all the time. I say organized Jewry, world Jewry. And do you know that for like 30 years, the World Jewish Congress has an annual keynote called The State of World Jewry. Barry
Who the fuck cares even if this is true?
Weiss has given it.
What? I don't even think what he's saying is true. I think he's just making shit up, but it doesn't matter. He wants to info dump. Just keep in mind, I want people to, especially since this is like my audience too. This is just Hassan Parker. It's info dump central. What he wants to do is he wants to info dump on you. That's the whole point. He wants to appear smart. He uses like some kind of weird anti-Semitic term. We know he means it in an anti-Semitic way. And then he wants to, and he also has a script he wants to engage you with. And the script is to offend you by using this term and then force you to have a conversation. But since Piers doesn't care, he's like, okay, let me just, let me over-explain.
You can look it up. It's on YouTube. She gives the State of World Jewry address.
But Nick, what do you mean by it?
I mean, you have to talk about, there's a concept of Jewish peoplehood. It's the sense that they are part of a common nationality.
Okay. So don't you do the exact same thing with Christianity and white people?
Common tribe, a common people. And so where they reside in Israel, the United States or Europe or elsewhere, they see each other above or maybe on a different level alongside their nationality, their. You
do the same exact thing though, no? So I don't understand.
State, wherever they reside, if they're in Germany, France, the United States, they see themselves as part of a transnational nation, of an international nation. The Jews in America, the Jews in Israel, they identify as Israeli or American, but they also have something in common. They identify as part of a common nation, which I would say there's a world Jewish population. It's World Jewry. And World Jewry has representatives. There is such a thing as the World Jewish Congress, where they actually elect, it's democratic, all the local Jewish organizations elect representatives to
Whoa. Okay, who cares? Why does this matter that this is a thing?
Represent proportionally the Jewish population in their area at the World Jewish Congress. And it's sort of like Davos. It's like the World Economic Forum, but it's exclusively for members of the Jewish nation that exists across the world. And so that's a real thing. And I didn't make that up, and that didn't.
Who cares? What does this matter? It's a diplomatic arm for Jewish people. Why does this matter at all? Every group has this. I mean, every group has also for other religions, there are various organizations, advocacy organizations. This one is just very centralized. Jewish people are a minority in or historically have been a minority in every country that they've ever existed in. And so now it's counter. They have a strong core to their Jewishness. That's it. Who gives a fuck? Who really gives a singular fuck in general that there is a World of Jewish Congress? The thing is right now with all the anti-Semitism going on, that's part of it is manifested because of what the Israeli government is doing. So I understand where some people come from, I guess, but it's still wrong to hate Jewish people. What a hot take, right? But with everything going on, it's easier to just kind of say these things, because to a lot of people, they're just gonna be oh wait, is this the deep-seated control arm of the No, it's not. This is normal for people to have advocacy organizations. That's literally all it is.
Come from 4chan. It's like I said in that clip. I read what they write. I read their books. I watch these speeches. I watch a speech from Barry Weiss.
Wait until he hears about the Vatican. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, wait till he hears about the fucking Vatican, dude.
Pay very close attention. So that's what I mean by that. There is such a thing as it's a nation that exists across borders on a global scale. They're organized and they have a national self-interest as that nation, as that tribe.
So if you don't hate any Jews, what do you like about them?
I like a lot of things about them. I think they're funny. I think they're smart. I think that they're pretty remarkable people. And as Christians, especially as Catholics, we say they're remarkable. And this has been adjudicated in Catholic doctrine for thousands of years. We say that they're a witness people. And so we actually, there's provisions inside of Catholic doctrine that says we need to give them special protections because they were a witness to Christ's passion. So, this is why you can't clip the
And also, Jesus is a Jewish person.
show. You have to watch the whole thing. I say this repeatedly in interviews.
That's another Hassan tactic.
I do think they're remarkable. By definition, they're exceptional people. It's just that there is a sort of natural opposition between them and Christians because of the theology. We believe that Christ is the Messiah. They don't. They have been a minority in Christian lands for thousands of years, and they have been pushed around and expelled, and they've been persecuted and segregated. And that's why there's a lot of paranoia. There's a lot of distrust. There's maybe some sense of chauvinism among Jewish people. So there is, like I said in that clip, there is an historical antagonism between these two peoples, between Christendom and Jewry, and that has always been the case in Europe. But I don't hate them, and I think I actually sort of understand them in a weird way. I think that because I've studied a lot of their politics, I think I really kind of know them in a way, and it doesn't come from a place of hatred.
Do you have any Jewish friends?
I do. I have many, yes.
Well, that's weird because you said this.
Jews and Christians have never been friends, ever.
That's just so funny. That is just such a funny. That's just funny. He's going on about how much he thinks that like Jewish people and Christians have a lot in common and this and that and the other thing. And then here we go. Nick Fuentes just talking about how he hates Jews. Like, it's incredible. We get it. Like, he tries to sanitize himself when he goes on to shows to seem more reasonable. That's it. We get it. Like, okay, like boring tactic. Thank you.
Not since Jesus Christ fought with the Pharisees have we ever been friends. Not since Saul was leading the charge persecuting the Christians.
This is just fucking preposterous.
Not since the Roman Empire, not since the Middle Ages. Never. We've never been friends. We've never been allies. We've always been set against each other, actually. And even here in the United States, it was communist Jews who were the architects of both communism and the civil rights laws that are dispossessing white Christians of their land and civilization.
The Jews and Christians have never been friends ever, except for you and your Jewish friends.
Yeah, so easy. As peoples,
Wait, but why would you betray your peoples? What the fuck?
Peoples as nations.
Got it.
Not saying every individual Christian, and of course there have been Christians and there have been Christian converts to Judaism, Jewish converts to Christian. You're nodding your head, but you're asking this. I'm saying as peoples, they've never been aligned.
He got fucking owned so hard. That's what actually happened. He got completely fucking owned.
I'm a Catholic like you, and I have many Jewish friends. I'm just trying to compute what you're trying to say, which is Jews and Christians have never been friends ever. And I'm like, well, you have Jewish friends, I have Jewish friends, we're both Catholics, therefore we're Christians. So it doesn't really quite add up.
Well, like I said, as peoples, there has been an historical antagonism as peoples. And you could even say the same about blacks in the United States. Of course, there were black and white people that were friendly with each other, but in many ways, they were set against each other as groups. And I think that's easy enough to understand.
The reason that many people think you're anti-Semitic is that you have regularly downplayed the Holocaust, and in particular, the number of Jewish people who were murdered by the Nazis. It's been said that you believe no more than several 100,000 have been killed. And I want to play you this clip.
Didn't we literally reference like the Nazis' numbers for how many people they killed? So
talk about, well, what about the gas chambers? Well, to the extent that that's real, I find that hard to believe, but to the extent that's real, there have been atrocities committed and genocides committed in all times and all places. Let's acknowledge why Hitler casts the long shadow, because that confers a political benefit upon Jews. That's why. It doesn't really sound correct to me. Wait a second. It takes 1 hour to cook a batch of cookies, and you have 15 ovens, probably in 4 different kitchens, right? Doing 24 hours a day, every day for 5 years. How long would it take you to make 6 million? I don't know. It certainly...
He's like really young there. I'm surprised this guy ever had a fucking following. Holy shit.
Wouldn't be 5 years, right? The math doesn't seem to add up there.
You think that's funny?
It's funny.
Yeah, he thinks it's funny. That's why he said it.
It's amusing what you're doing because...
It's amusing what you're doing. You're showing me my own words, and it's like, what the hell?
That one was a joke, but do you want to talk to...
Everything's just a joke. Okay. Like, yes, they are jokes. They are jokes. That is the point of jokes, is to utilize, because jokes are more palatable to communicate your message. Just because something is a joke doesn't mean that you don't actually believe what you're saying. You're just saying it in a palatable way. So fucking boring.
Seriously about the Holocaust?
I do actually. I mean, I do, because I just find it extraordinary that you would think the Holocaust could ever be something that we could joke about.
Why, too soon?
The fuck?
Is it too soon to make jokes?
How many people do you think died in the Holocaust? How many Jewish people?
6 million. Why? Okay. Why would we contest the number?
I don't know. I'm thinking maybe 7 million. What's the number?
Yeah. So that's going to be a meme. Oh, okay. I do. Actually, I don't think it's real. Oh, yeah, it's real. It's real. That's the joke, right? Like, this is super productive conversation here,
6 million, something like that.
So you
8 million?
You concede that 6 million Jews died in the Holocaust?
No.
Possibly more. Possibly, we're discovering all the time. So it could maybe even be more than that.
So why have you doubted the numbers in the past?
He's still doubting the numbers, Piers. Please, come on. Stop memeing. You're getting meme trolled right now.
I'll tell you why. I really think that every death is a tragedy. However many Jewish people died in the Holocaust. And I'm not a World War II historian, so I'm actually open to believing the official narrative, and I've read some of the conspiracy theories. And to tell you the truth, it's a rigorous debate. But you know what's interesting about this is in many countries, it's not
a rigorous debate, so
even legal to talk about it.
Whoa, what countries is it not legal to talk about it? Zero. There's no country where it's illegal to talk about the Holocaust. That's it. So there are countries where it's illegal to deny the existence of the Holocaust. That's it, but that's a different conversation. I don't care that it's illegal to deny the existence of forms of genocide. Okay, they don't want another one to happen. Cool stuff, man. Cool stuff. You want to know why we talk about the Holocaust more than other atrocities that are happening? Because white people were genocided. That's it. I don't mean to be an asshole. I mean, Jews have and also like the religious ties of Christianity and Judaism. That's it. That's why we talk about it. Everybody likes to push this like special narrative, like, oh my God, why do we talk about this one the most? It's because it's white people. Now, Nick would refuse to believe that because he doesn't think Jews are white, but that's literally it. That's why we don't talk about other like atrocities that are going on. Because they weren't atrocities that happened against white people. That's it. It's really not that complicated. It's not that hot of a take. It's pretty basic stuff. Yeah, that's it. There's your answer.
And that's really where my interest in the Holocaust begins and sort of ends, to tell you the truth, is that if you wanted to question the number, you would be put in jail in about, 17 or 18 European countries. And I think that's really the more interesting conversation, which is that this is almost like a religious dogma in the West. No other genocide, no other atrocity is treated like this. Could you imagine if in the United States they said the number of Palestinians killed in Gaza is 100,000, and if you don't say that, you're going to jail?
I think it's like 60 or 70,000. 60, 70? What the fuck?
You're banned on X. You can't have a job. That's the part that's totally insane. And a lot of people, they can't even make up their minds. I think it's actually done a disservice. If your goal,
can't make up their minds about what?
And I'm not saying you as Piers Morgan, but if you're an advocate for awareness about this, if your goal is to convince everybody that this is the way the Holocaust happened, I think the last thing you'd want to do is say that everyone that disagrees is in jail and is banned and you're not allowed to say.
Sure, that's fine. I guess you could. The problem is that he doesn't have this argument alone. His argument is like, hey, like, listen, I'm fine with the argument of like, listen, you have to be able to talk about these things or people are going to get skeptical. I agree with that. I think that's perfectly reasonable. There's a difference between saying that versus him like trying to create a space where Jews don't exist in his country. So that's what he wants. He doesn't want Jewish people in the country. That's it. Wow, incredible game. I love it. We love this game.
Say it. So there's really been no open debate about the subject since the scholarship started to be produced about 60 years ago.
There is no debate to be had about the number of people who were murdered. Even the Nazis in the trials after the war confirmed the numbers. The amount of documentation that was recovered, notwithstanding the attempts by the Nazis to destroy it, the amount of documentation that was saved and preserved and used for trials and for historical record is unprecedented in the history of mass slaughter of human beings. So we have a very clear idea of how many people were gassed to death in the gas chambers. We have a very clear idea of how many were starved to death, were kept in ghettos, died of disease, of forced labor, of death marches. We know how many Jews were slaughtered. It's at least 6 million. What's interesting to me is that you appear to now concede that, which may be news.
No, he's not conceding it at all. And like all of Nick Fuentes' audience is going to see that as like an example of Piers not being a very smart guy because he doesn't understand that Nick is trolling there. So
a lot of your regular viewers who have constantly heard you quibble with the number of Jews who died in the Holocaust. And for the record, just to confirm what I think you told me, you do now accept that at least 6 million Jews were killed in the Holocaust.
He does not accept that, Piers. Does he have nobody in the back going like, yeah, he's trolling the fuck out of you right now?
Well, no, I said it could even be higher than that.
Well, it could be higher. That is
I think
true.
it's at least.
But you
I think you're
accept
right.
at least.
It is at least. Oh, it's at least 6 million. But it could be 100
well,
times
people
more
are
than
going to
that.
be okay.
See, he's just going to troll you now. That's all it's going to be, Piers. Come on, you got to be smarter than that.
The people are going to be.
Let me respond to the rest of your question.
Sure.
What you're saying, I understand where you're coming from when you say it has been documented and there are confessions and so on. Let that speak for itself. But you don't see, your show is called Piers Morgan Uncensored.
Yeah.
But the United Kingdom is censored and Europe is censored.
Whoa, so true, King.
And if you talk about these things, you will be put in jail in many countries. And I think that's where a lot of people start to say, well, If the truth is so clear and if there's such overwhelming evidence, why do you need to throw people in jail for disagreeing? And you yourself said, well, there is no debate. I think everything is debatable. I think everything at least should be debated. And if the evidence is very one-sided, let the evidence speak. Don't throw people in jail. So do you think that Holocaust denial laws should be overturned?
I don't particularly agree with Holocaust denial laws. I don't think people should be imprisoned.
Okay.
Well, because I have a blanket view now, which has evolved slightly actually over the years.
But there's a difference between saying, hey, I'm a free speech absolutist, I want to do more free speech stuff, versus hating Jewish people, making it your whole life's work to try to speak out against them and push conspiracies, and then say, oh, hey, we should be able to talk about this. Because obviously, you know, if you're somebody who wants to talk more about the Holocaust or thinks people should be able to because you're a free speech absolutist, like, yeah, that's fine, whatever. If you're somebody that just wants to talk about how much you don't like Jews or push this idea that they're crazy, like, there's the intentionality matters. That intentionality matters in what is going on. There's two different things. So, you know, the intention very clearly matters here.
That I have a blanket view that speech should not be criminalized, right? People should be allowed to say what they want to say, and they should be then made accountable for what they say. If you have an employer, they can make a view about whether you are the right kind of person they want for their employment, as they would make a decision about anything else you do in life. So I actually believe that speech should never be criminalized. It's my personal view. I understand why in places like Germany, they have strong laws about it because they want to move on from what they believe was the most shameful moment in their history. I understand that. Do I want that in my country? No. Am I appalled by what has been going on with free speech in the United Kingdom in the last 2 or 3 years? Absolutely. It is ridiculous that people have been frog marched to prison cells for stuff they put on social media, right? So yeah, I do. I think what is more interesting to me about our exchange is I was not expecting you to go the opposite way. I was not expecting you to be so emphatic that at least 6 million Jews died in the Holocaust. No,
because he's not. Dude, do they have anybody who's like under the age of 50 like speaking to Piers in this fucking ear right now? What the fuck's going on here? Do they not have anybody that's like, hey man, you're getting fucking trolled right now? Do you understand that you're getting trolled super hard right now? Hey bro, you're getting trolled super hard.
There'll be people watching this who I think will be very surprised by that, because you have built a reputation for being, if not a Holocaust denier, then somebody constantly questioning in a downward way the number of Jews who were murdered. Okay. That doesn't appear to be what your position is now.
Ah, Piers, you're struggling, boss. You're struggling super duper hard. Okay.
No, and here's what I would like to see for my entire
just to be
career. When I started my show, it started with a good faith inquiry where I was.
So I think that at the very least we can look at this and be like, oh yeah, Nick Fuentes is willing to, like, I know he's joking, but he's like, this is obviously his little dog whistle to his community. He relies on Piers being a fucking boomer and not understanding that he's making like a meme out of this right now. So what's happening is to his audience is communication, like, ha ha ha, he's making fun of him, he's got him, he's bullying him or whatever, haha, that's funny. But to like the rest of or other people are like, oh, okay, it seems like he's reasonable. That's the whole thing. This moment that's like is funny because Piers is falling for it is it is literally the proof that this is what Nick Fuentes does. He does the troll. He does reasonability trolling. That's it. That's his whole entire thing. And this is indicative of that. This is the proof of that.
Was questioning a lot of these narratives, and I said, what is the answer on the other side? But what I found is that the answer was criminalized. So when you would talk about anything regarding Jews, Israel, the Holocaust, you could be in favor of the official narrative on those things. If you went against, you were banned, censored, and in some countries jailed. And so I actually haven't made up my mind on that because that's not really a matter of interest to me. And there's a lot of analysis and scholarship on both sides of the issue. And I've read both sides of the issue. And honestly, unfortunately, it's hard to judge because there has never been... There's never been a debate on it. And there's never been a debate because of the stigma, because of the censorship. And I think that leads a lot of people to...
The stigma. Guys, you're a victim if you've tried to debate it and they won't, and you can't because people make fun of you and call you a fucking moron. That's what most of it is. People are just like, wow, this guy's a fucking moron. Just like in this game, this guy's a fucking moron. What's going on here? Hey, this guy's a fucking moron. He's trying to debate something that's obviously true. Because we're getting all the information. Your best argument is like, what's your best argument? Hey, like the Nazis, they wanted their numbers to look better, so they lied about them. Like, is that your best argument? Like, because that's where you get the numbers from. Like, were they just trying to fudge them up? Were they trying to hit a quota, so they lied about the number? Is that what the argument is? Like, what are we doing here?
To say, well, what do they have to hide? Because you can say on your show, well, I'm personally against Holocaust denial laws, yet they still persist and the social consequences still persist. And I think that is the anomaly. And people have to wonder, okay, Why is it that way? And what I said in that clip is the reason the Holocaust casts a long shadow is because it confers a political benefit upon organized Jewry. That is what they always fall back on. They cannot be criticized. They cannot be named. They cannot be talked about, lest there be another Holocaust. And no other tragedy is treated that way, and no other ethnic group has a get-out-of-jail-free card. Just play that. Anti-Semitism and...
What do you mean? Literally, the entire beginning of this conversation is him talking about how black people exclusively have a get-out-of-jail-free card. So why is it only Jewish people now? This is so interesting. What happened? I thought it was only like black people had to get out. Like he was saying that before. Notice how every group he doesn't like has a get-out-of-jail-free card. He was saying the literal same thing before. There's no accountability. They get to do whatever they want. They got a free pass. What? Just because you didn't call it a get-out-of-jail-free card? That's what I'm talking about, dude. He just talks. No other group is like this. But you just said black people were like this before. So wouldn't they be like this? And then what does that even mean? They have a get-out-of-jail-free card. I don't even know what that means. What are we talking about? There's a significant amount of criticism on Israel. And I'll say that the only reason that they get away with some of the things that they do isn't because they're Jewish. It's specifically because they have a lot of influence in the Middle East. And we want to have access to that middle influence. And guess what? Like there's a religious tie to these things as well. You know? Because it's like, oh, in the Bible, I guess the Holy Land, like it's just so funny because you know what it is. He wants to make it seem like Jewish people are like magical and have like this fucking hold on the world, this captive on this they're holding the world captive. He wants to make it seem like that. But then like Christianity tells you that Israel's the promised land, and that so it's like, okay, so now there's like other religions that are defending the behavior, and then they have a central point in the Middle East. You guys are acting like it's like fucking. It's so deep seated that there's this deep seated thing. It's not. It's so easily explainable why these things are going on. That's it. That's it. It's like, okay.
Holocaust, you can do whatever you want and defend all your actions. That's the part that people are getting upset with. That's the problem.
I don't know any right-minded person who believes that Jewish people weaponized the Holocaust for their own personal get out of jail free or whatever you called it.
You don't know anyone that does that? That believes?
I'm sure that there are people who do that. Sure. I mean, I imagine I'm sure that Netanyahu has used it as an excuse for sure. But again, there's an entire narrative here that's trying to be built by Nick that like Jewish people are so different. Because they're not. They're the same as everybody else.
I'm sure there are some people that do that, but it's such a ridiculous generalization. You know, the truth is that most Jewish people have lost relatives in the Holocaust. In fact, I want to play you two clips. One is where you talk about Adolf Hitler.
Oh, I was joking. I'm joking. That's what he's going to say.
Hitler was a pedophile and kind of a pagan. It's like, well, he was also really fucking cool. So,
whoa,
you know,
cool guy.
Time to grow up. We're not children anymore. Am I right? Am I right? Am I right, boys?
Guys, I was just kidding. Stop.
Am I right? Let's go. He was also really fucking cool.
I was kidding.
You regret saying that?
No, I was joking. Everything's a joke.
Saying a fact? No, that's absolutely true.
You think Hitler was very fucking cool?
Yes, I do.
Whoa, that's crazy.
And
I'm tired of pretending he's not. Well, to be honest,
this is the problem. You see, it's a bit like
he obviously believes this, but right now he's playing it off like he's trolling, right? So like that's the whole. I don't know if he knows if this. I don't know if he knows if this makes him look good there, but okay.
You just say I'm a racist. You're a racist who thinks Hitler's cool, but you're not anti-Semitic. If you're a Jewish person watching this, what do they think?
I think the best follow-up question from Piers would be like, "Oh, would you let him fuck you in the ass, or what's going on with that? Would you fuck his wife if he asked you to? Like, how far do we go here? You know what I mean? Like, let's just fucking meme with him at this point. Just like call him gay or something. You know what I mean? That's the energy he's giving out anyway.
I'll tell you what they're thinking, because I've got a friend of mine called Danny Finkelstein.
Whoa.
Who
Finkelstein? Holy fuck.
When he heard I was interviewing you, he's a Times journalist in the UK, very eminent journalist here, and author, who wrote a book about his own family's experiences at the hands of Hitler and Stalin, because he also told Tucker Carlson that you admire Stalin. But let's just take what Danny said here.
Hi Piers, it's Danny Finkelstein here.
Whoa, what the hell? That's crazy.
If you're interviewing Nick Fuentes, you might try suggesting to him that he reads my book, Hitler, Stalin, Mum and Dad. It's called Two Roads Home in the United States.
Do you think he would actually read the book? What are you doing? Why are you plugging your book here? This is probably not the most productive way to operate, you know? Like, you're plugging a book right now? I feel like there could be better ways to spend the time criticizing Nick Fuentes, but okay.
States. Since he says he's on Team Hitler, you might like to ask him about the fact that Hitler arrested my mum, tried to starve my mum to death, starve my grandmother to death, sent my great aunt to the gas chamber, my great uncle, my cousin, my grandma.
Are we seriously? I'm not trying to be a fucking asshole. Do you think it's the most productive thing in the entire world to be like, hey, Nick Fuentes, you said some really negative stuff about Jewish people and how much you like Hitler. I'm gonna put a Jew on to plug his book. Like, like I love Jewish people. I love Jewish books. Okay, let me tell you, I'm not. But like, this isn't exactly going to help the win for the cause of trying to de-escalate and de-radicalize young people. You know, that I don't understand how this was ever perceived as like an intelligent tactic.
Mother on my father's side ended up being one out of 7 children, the only one that survived the war. So you might ask him whether he wouldn't rather be on Team Mum rather than Team Hitler. And as for celebrating Stalin's birthday, well, Stalin took my father, sent him to a state collective farm, sent my grandmother and to a state collective farm, sent my grandfather to the Gulag. You might try asking why he doesn't celebrate Dad's birthday rather than Stalin's. It may all be a big joke to him, but he complains that he was 18 when someone tried to cancel him. Well, Stalin and Hitler arrested my mum and my dad when they were 10 years old. So perhaps he might like to reconsider his joke.
Yeah, probably.
See, that's the reality of your jokes, although I haven't ascertained yet whether you are joking when you say that Hitler was very fucking cool. Are you joking, or do you actually think he was very fucking cool? The most genocidal monster of the last 150 years?
Yeah, the thing is, my generation, we're just done with the pearl clutching. You know,
you might be, but then your generation hasn't gone.
Apparently, it's pearl clutching to talk about genocide nowadays. Okay.
Through what Danny Finkelstein's family went through, so maybe the pearl clutching has a way to go for families whose family members.
I don't really think it's a pearl clutch, but okay.
Oh my gosh! Yeah, we got all that. We, you know, me mom. Like we're, you know, I don't even know who this person is. Why is this person talking to me? This old British guy is saying me mom got killed by Hitler.
Because he doesn't find it funny when you say Hitler's very fucking cool.
I don't care.
He finds
I don't care.
I know you don't care. That's fine. You don't have to care. But he does care.
Does that guy care about America? Does that guy care about me and my country and my family? No.
He cares what you.
Your family's alive and doing fine. So why would he care? Okay.
A prominent conservative in America.
Guys, what about me? Have we ever considered that?
Has to say about Adolf Hitler. And what do you mean by Hitler is very fucking cool? Because I think he's very fucking a monster.
Whoa. Okay. Which monster do you think he's fucking, personally? Probably himself, because he is a monster.
And that's a clip. I think he's very fucking a monster. Do you hear yourself?
Yeah, I mean,
can we all?
Ooh, we got him. We owned him.
Grow up.
I do.
Can we all grow
up?
He murdered
12 million people. He murdered 12 million people. What is very fucking cool about that? Tell me.
The edits. It's just cool. The uniforms, the parades. It's cool as a guy. You look at.
I mean, not for nothing. If you were incredibly gay, you would think that Nazi uniforms look, or any uniform looks good for that matter, because you would have to be a fashionista that would pay attention to those things. Me personally, not gay. So, you know what I'm saying, dude?
World War II, and it's fascinating, and it's interesting, and it's compelling, and it's cool. And, you know, we're just tired of saying these kinds of things. We want to talk like real people and give our honest opinions. And then we literally get an old Jewish guy from England who's going to say, oh, that's not very funny, mate. Me mom. And it's like, shut up. Like, you know, no one is in favor of genocide. So let's just get that out of the way. We're not.
But you are, right? Like, you don't care that it happened because you downplay it. That's what, if you didn't care about a genocide happening, you would make jokes about it and say like, oh, yeah, ha, and meme it, right? It's just trying to play the Overton window. That's literally all it is. And trying to get away with what you think you can get away with, and like talk about things like, you know, in a way that you feel like you can get away with it. So,
not in favor of a Holocaust or genocide.
Do you think if half your family you think if half your family had been wiped out by very fucking cool Hitler, you'd still think he was very fucking cool? Or would you think that actually he was a despicable monster who murdered 12 million people, who targeted people because they were disabled or Jewish or Romani Gypsy or whatever it may be, and that he systematically destroyed people, incinerated them in gas chambers? Do you think that you would find it very fucking cool if your family had been through that? Or do you think you would find it very fucking disgusting? And perhaps moderate the number of times you laugh about it, or want to joke about it, or want to abuse someone like Danny Finkelstein, who's written incredibly powerful books about what happened to his...
Stop. Please, stop plugging your friend's book. Holy fuck. It doesn't make sense. It's not smart.
Extended family at the hands of the Nazis and your other hero, Stalin. See, my point to you, Nick Fuentes, is that in parts of this interview, you try to come across as moderate, but every now and again, the mask slips. And it slipped again here with what you say about Hitler. There's nothing very fucking cool about Hitler. We know that from history.
Well, right now he's playing into the idea that people are like kind of empathy fatigued in general, right? So that's how he kind of gets away with saying those kind of things. Because people are empathy fatigued, for sure. I think that's why that Trump won, is because of empathy fatigue, and because people don't necessarily understand like how COVID really is why there was so much craziness going on in 2020. They think that it's like something inherent to the left protesting. But the reason things got out of hand was simply because everybody was home, everybody was bored, everybody had a lot going on, right? But that's like led to this huge empathy burnout, right? That's a very unique event. That's why you're not going to see like a right-wing act of violence, you know, like that ever, or at least not for a long time. Like even J6, you know, pales in comparison to, you know, per violence. I mean, I will say Trump actively endorsing it is a massive problem, so that makes it worse. But, you know, violence-wise, there was less of it because like COVID didn't keep everybody home, didn't keep everybody outraged, didn't keep everybody restless, wanting to go and get back to work and all these other things. So yeah, he's playing off of that. That's why he can get away with like being insensitive about it.
Now we know what he did. You've already conceded that he murdered at least 6 million Jews.
Well, he was joking. He was memeing on you, Piers. So you're not really helping yourself. So people aren't empathy fatigued. They're just tired of the Holocaust. Yeah, I think that you're an idiot. Just to be clear. So I'm just gonna kind of like you're stupid. Like, that's part of the empathy fatigue, for sure. If you want to be like, hey, I deny the Holocaust because of empathy fatigue, whatever. But people are empathy fatigued. Saying that they're not is just, I can't engage with unintelligence to that degree. It's just too stupid for me. It's too stupid for me. I can't deal with how absolutely fucking stupid of a comment that is to me. People are empathy fatigued, and like there is a level of truth to like the Israeli government utilizing and weaponizing the past atrocities to suggest that they can kind of do whatever they want. But this isn't something inherent to Jewish people. So, I mean, I just can't deal with dumb fucking people. Holy fuck. Yeah, he gets really upset about a couple of like white people being murdered horrifically, but he doesn't seem to care about other white people, Jews, because Jews are white, being murdered in the Holocaust. So it is very interesting.
So when you say he's very fucking cool, Jewish people watch this and go, this guy's disgusting. Why would he say this about someone who perpetrated such an evil? And what's the real answer? Why do you? Is it just for clicks? Is it for money? Is it just for fun? For shits and giggles? What is it? What motivates you to say something like Hitler was very fucking cool?
It's for this. It's for all of this. And the lack of self-awareness is amazing. You're a boomer. You're a 60-year-old boomer. And we've spent maybe 3 minutes on you saying, he's a really fucking monster. He incinerated people. This. And I'm sitting here saying it's not that serious. It's not that deep. And
why wouldn't it be that serious? Why wouldn't it be that serious, dude? It's so strange. It's so weird.
What
I'm getting at,
not that serious.
Do you want to say more about he's a monster?
You're not a kid yourself anymore. You're not a teenager.
I know.
Right? You're nearly 30.
It's true. That is true. He's nearly 30.
To be clear, okay? You're a fully formed adult who has a brain, right? And at some stage, that brain has taken you off these rabbit
warrens. Is this an interview or is this a lecture? Can I respond to what you're saying?
I want you to explain why you think it's fine to say how fucking cool Hitler is and to dismiss the very powerful 90 seconds from a British journalist who'd lost a lot of family members to the Nazis in such a callous, dismissive manner.
I don't think it's powerful. I think we've been hearing that our entire lives. Okay, the Schindler's List. Let's just be honest. The propaganda is over the top. We have been brought in America.
Propaganda? Why? Because people are making movies. It's not propaganda. I don't understand. Why don't you become successful and go make a movie about some kind of white violence somewhere else instead of the white Jewish violence? So do whatever you want. What are you talking about? The propaganda. I don't like good movies. Like, I don't understand. The Holocaust was really bad. That's it. When you when you get worked up over good movies because you're tired of propaganda, I mean, obviously you don't like Jewish people. Don't watch that movie. This is some like actual fucking. This is literally just anti-woke in video games. Anti-woke in movies. Guys, are we doing anti-woke movies now? Holy fuck.
About the Schindler's List. Tell me about the Schindler's List. Well, tell me about the Schindler's List.
I'll tell you about it. We have been browbeaten as a people, as Americans, as Westerners, for our entire lives.
Oh, yeah?
And you know what this has done? It has taken away any sense of pride.
Browbeaten about what? The fuck does that have to do with America? Didn't cause the Holocaust. What does this have to do with America? I'm tired of watching Schindler's List in the waiting room every single time I go to the doctor. It's fucking browbeaten. By the way, Americans are tired of being beaten down. What the fuck does that have to do with America? What the hell are you talking about?
Any sense of love for our own civilization. We have been made the villain in our own story. We have been made because, well, let's just...
What story? The Holocaust? I don't understand. What are you saying?
Be clear. It doesn't begin and end with Hitler is a monster. This has been the political narrative, which is why we have thrown open the borders. This is a political narrative.
What? What the fuck are you talking about? Thrown open the borders. This is the political narrative. We've thrown open. What is he talking about? What the fuck is he on about, dude?
Which is why we can't be a conservative society as a whole anymore. Why we can't be proud of Europeans. Why we can't be proud of being Christian. Because they've told us if you're too white and too proud and too Christian, it's going to lead to a Holocaust. And so my generation are...
What? What the fuck are you talking about? Oh, okay. I see what we're saying, because people are like, "Hey, being a nationalist and hating every other group is bad." That has turned into the Jews have done a bad thing. Oh, okay. Oh, fuck! I wasn't paying attention.
Wait,
honestly, Nick Fuentes, and that's why people like me. That's why I'm popular, because this is bullshit.
Honestly,
yeah, it's a crock. You don't want to hear any more about me, mom and me.
10 million illegals in 4 years. Yeah, what are you talking about? Yeah, it's tough, man. Like, that's the problem. Listening to fucking morons. Yeah, so just to be clear, there weren't 10 million illegals in 4 years. We already debunked that. That's border wall interactions. Also, Donald Trump very successfully told conservatives to knock down their own bill that would have dealt with the asylum seeking process being taken advantage of at the border. So nobody really cares. Like, you guys are just saying things. It's fucking crazy.
Dad,
what you just listen. What you just said is a crock of shit. And you
it's
know
true.
it.
It's
and
called the open society.
In your gut, you know it is. You weaponize this stuff.
You know.
You weaponize this stuff for money, but you know when you say something like what you
I'm
just
banned
said.
From banking. I'm banned from banking and credit cards. You know what you're talking to? I do it for money.
And by the way,
how much money?
You don't make money? Does he not make any money? What is he talking about?
You make your company's worth $100 million.
Always saying that because he got banned for saying what he's saying, it can't be for the money. But do you think if you apologize, you'd get your shit back? No, of course not. So, like, you were doing it for money, and then it, like, backfired in some sense, and you had to commit to it. Yeah.
Your company's worth $100 million. I was banned from Bank of America. You shouldn't be banned from processing credit.
Oh, just Bank of America?
And you shouldn't have been.
But I am. So don't tell me I'm doing it for money.
Well, ask me my opinion about that. I'll tell you shouldn't have been. Right? I don't agree with that. What happened to you?
Then don't say I'm doing it for money.
Well, he is doing it for money. He makes a significant amount of money doing it. What is he talking about?
Because you know that full well, and you say it's a
how
grift.
Much money? How much
if
money
I wanted
are
to be a grifter, I'd be like you.
How
and
much
I would
money
go and say,
how much money are you making?
I'm making a lot of money now. Yeah. Now that I'm the #1 live streamer in America, because people agree with me more than they
#1 live streamer in America. Wow, is that actually true? Interesting.
Agree with you. We're tired of hearing about slavery and the Holocaust and Jim Crow. We're done hearing about that. You guys over
what?
Yeah, I'm not done hearing about that.
Okay, well, you know, your generation's on the way out, and Generation Z is coming up, and we're finished with that. We're ready to take
Gen Z on the rise, baby.
Our country back.
I've got 3 sons.
I've got 3 sons. Anymore.
I've got 3 sons, and they don't share your views about slavery and about the Holocaust.
Imagine they did. They laughed at Nick Fuentes memes in private. Would you feel betrayed, Dad?
You can have decency and compassion and humanity about some of the worst things that have happened in the last 150 years or more. They can do that, and they can also have concerned views about issues like immigration and other issues. The two things are not mutually incompatible. You can have different views about different things. It's your lack of humanity and compassion for people about things like the Holocaust, about slavery. It's that people find so contemptible. And I don't understand why you need to do that. Again, I just ask you, is your motivation financial? Is your motivation for fun? What is the motivation for saying these outlandish things?
Because Nick is a fucking idiot. Like, Nick is useless. I don't know if you guys understand this. Nick could not work a regular job for his life. Like, he's completely uninspiring, uninteresting, and unintelligent. This is what most white supremacists are. They want DEI. You guys don't understand. The original DEI people are white. They want DEI. And so what happened is we implemented protocols to allow black people that had, equal ability to do a job. We added protocols to help them get a job. And in some instances, if you're equal black person, equal white person, whatever, you'll probably get a job over that, of course. But it beats back in the day when you would just be beaten and fucking lynched for being black, right? So that's why what happened. And so a lot of stupid white people, this is like Nick Fuentes' fans, all very antisocial school shooter types. All these different people, they're very uneducated and they can't really get a job. And so they just complain. This is their victim complex. And instead of educating themselves or voting in the direction that gives more money to education, they just have to complain. They want their victim complex. This is their feminism. This is their MAGA. They are MAGA. Although there is a separation now. And they bitch and they moan that other people are keeping them down because they're lazy fucking losers that can't do anything. They're fucking worthless. I don't know what to tell you. That's it. That's literally the whole thing. Like, they can't work a job. They don't have any skills. They're not intelligent. They're not hardworking. They can't do shit, dude. They can't do shit. I don't know what to tell you. They're fucking worthless, bro. I don't know what to tell you. That's why he's saying these things. Like, you look at him. He's a scrawny little guy. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he's not capable of really anything. He's not particularly intelligent. He's not particularly good at any type of craft, or could not be. That's all it is. He hasn't worked a real job his entire life. He's just, like, his first job, his first meaningful job is the internet. That's it. He didn't work at, like, a company for, like, a decade. He hasn't done anything. He doesn't even understand what struggles the middle class is going through, or anybody's going through, because he's never experienced them. That's it. Like, he's got nothing going on, dude. Like, this guy, when did this guy start getting popular? Like, his young 20s? What? You think he ever had to work a job in a career capacity where it was like, oh my God, I can't pay this bill or do this or do that? No, of course not. That's it. And most of his tactics at this point, watching this interview, are just like copying Trump. That's it. Speaking in a similar cadence, trying to pull in like that audience of people who want some kind of change, even whether it's good or bad. He just wants something anti-establishment. That's all it is. That's it.
You don't need to say, and which I suspect, I don't know.
He can never make it in middle management. He can never make it. What's that burger place that does like really well? You know what I'm talking about. He can never make it there.
I suspect a lot of it is performative. So what is the motivation?
I'm an iconoclast. The Holocaust is not my religion, and it is treated like a religion. It is treated like a religion with...
Well, it's not, but okay.
...dogma, with blasphemy laws, and that...
Nobody talks more about the Holocaust than Nick Fuentes fans. I'll tell you that much right now.
Secular religion says, and you say that's a crock of shit. It's intentional. It's called The Open Society by Karl Popper. It's by these architects of the liberal order.
I hear more about the Holocaust from like fucking people who deny the Holocaust than I do from other people. That's it. That's all it is.
After World War II, they got together and they said, how can we make sure that Hitler never happens? How can we make sure that totalitarianism never happens again? And they came up with
Ooh, dude, I'm fat. Bro, it's so funny. I'm going to respond to it once. I got to respond to it once because obviously there's a lot of Nick Fuentes fans in here and they're very upset. You guys are lazy, okay? Like, I'm fat, but I'm also fucking huge, bro. What are you talking about? What are you saying? What are you talking about, dude? What are you saying? My arms are bigger than your fucking legs, dude. It's just so weird because, like, oh, well, you're fat. Yeah, I'm fat. I'm also not as lazy as you. And you're also, like, you can't form a relationship. That's why you hate watch people while you're sitting at home playing a video game because you can't get a job. Like, it's just so weird, dude. It's just fucking strange, bro. You guys are very weird. You guys are weird. I'm fucking 6'4". I'm 330 pounds. And I'd say I'm pretty fucking muscular, dude. I don't know what you want me to tell you. Like, I don't know what to tell you, dude. I'm a beefy guy. All right. So I think that's like the 7th time someone said it. I don't know what you want me to tell you, dude. I don't know what you want me to tell you. Gotta work on the shoulders. My shoulders are fucking... Don't even insult my shoulders, bro. Stop it. Okay, I know you're lying. I know that you're lying, dude. Stop. Okay? Stop it, dude. I have fucking big shoulders. Don't say that. Okay? Fuck you, bro.
The consensus, which is that we need to take down nations, religions, fathers, the authoritarian personality. We need to be empathetic and altruistic. We need to be diverse and pluralistic. And that experiment isn't working. And I'll tell
America's always been a diverse country, so that experiment has been working since the start of it. What is he talking about?
Tell you the truth right now, and you can laugh at this, you can scoff at this. Our people are being genocided in our our country. 50% of the live births in the United Kingdom and in the United States are non-white. In
is that a genocide because less white people are having babies?
100 years, my ancestors, your kids who are so empathetic and compassionate, they're going to be a minority. They're going to be
Why are you afraid of that? Like, I don't care. I don't care if white people are a minority. I don't identify with white people. Like, I just listen. It bothers the fuck out of me because we do this thing where, like, I'm gonna just be super fucking real. We do this thing where your version of white you think is as good as my white. Okay, I'm ethnically German. What the fuck are you? Oh, hey guys, I'm Europe. Oh, hey guys, I'm from the UK. What are you guys known for? Beans on toast. Oh, okay. Hey guys, I'm some other white version. What are you known for? Being alcoholic. Oh, what am I known for? Engineering. Like, I don't know what you want me to tell you. Stop playing this game. If you guys want to do the game where you separate black people from being Americans, then let's separate every other white person from other white people. Like, stop doing this. Stop it. Okay? If you're going to say that there are inferior skin colors, I'm going to say that there are inferior versions of what you consider white. Stop lumping yourself in with me. If you're going to do that, because I'm not going to just stop at skin color. I don't give a fuck about that. Like, what are we talking about here? Why are you stopping at white? What have you ever done? What are we talking about? It's just it's very strange. You know, and again, it's the lowest IQ people who play this fucking game.
A minority in maybe a Muslim country, an Indian country, an Hispanic country, and these Jewish people that are 100 years old talking about my grandparents and the Holocaust.
Jewish people are 100. Oh, okay.
They don't care about that. Actually, they like to see it. At the SPLC, they're literally counting down the days until whites are a minority in America. So forgive me if I don't
Jewish people are white, though. That's the problem.
Believe them when they talk about compassion. There's a genocide going on right now. It's not against the Jews.
How many Christians are there?
In Gaza, it's against
How many
whites.
Christians are there in the world? Like me,
1 point some billion.
Yeah,
2 billion.
How many Jews are there?
15 million.
Okay. So with a straight face, you're going to tell me the world is being overrun by the Jewry, by 15 million people, when there are over 1 billion Christians.
No, Piers, you don't understand. What he's saying is that he thinks that Jewish people are setting the laws to reduce the white population in America through illegal immigration. That's what he thinks. The problem with what he thinks is that Jewish people are white. So this is the problem, and that this doesn't exist, and that Donald Trump's administration, or Donald Trump specifically, did not want to fix the border wall problem because he wanted to run on it. So he had Republicans shoot down their own bill during Biden administration, during the Biden era, so they could do that. So, yeah.
There is a genocide of Christians like poor old Nick Fuentes going on at the hands of these 15 million Jews. Really?
See, this attitude is why you're losing. When you say
who am I losing
white
to?
People,
losing what?
Well,
who am I losing to?
White people.
And if these people actually cared about increasing the white population, they would support things like universal child care or some kind of universal health care so that people would have less economic stressors when they came to having kids.
Who am I losing to?
You're seeing it. Mass migration. Oh, you're losing to me. We are losing as a civilization of mass migration. And here's the difference. In Israel, they have my politics. In Israel, they want to maintain a Jewish majority.
20% of Israel is non-Jewish. What is he talking about? They've been making a shift. What does he mean? What is he talking about? I actually think it's 22% of Israel is like Palestinian identifying. They're like, what are you talking about? Even there. And that's Israel proper. That's not considering like Gaza. What are you talking about?
If they had it their way, it would only be Jewish people. They're fighting like hell so that Jewish people can have as much territory, a Jewish state. They can be proudly Jewish. I
mean, it makes sense to have a Jewish state fundamentally. We have plenty of states that are representative of like Christian, Muslim, all these other things. It's fine if they want to have a Jewish state. They just shouldn't be fucking attacking other countries, right? But, you know, I guess that doesn't fit the narrative there.
Their own land. Whereas in America...
Like, I agree. Israel should slowly move towards not being a Jewish state. But considering Nick Fuentes is very popular for hating Jewish people and loving Hitler, I mean, it makes sense that why Jewish people would feel like they needed their own state to protect themselves.
We are being besieged by 10 million illegal immigrants in 4 years. And
that's not true, because it was border wall interactions don't mean like actual immigrants coming in, and MAGA intentionally wanted them to come in so they could run on it, which is why they shot down a border bill that would have fixed a lot of asylum seeking loopholes and put more money at the border.
And whites and Christians are going to be the minority. And that's true in Canada, Australia, all the countries in Europe. So you could say there's 2 billion people, but what's the proportionality? What is the percentage of people being born that are white? Where's the arrow pointing? Where are we going to be in 50 years?
I don't know. I'll probably be dead, dude. I'm old.
50 years, there might be in Israel. In 50 years, there isn't going to be a white Christendom.
You don't believe people should get married, right?
I think people should get married. I'm a Christian.
Why aren't you married?
But you're basically anti-marriage, really. You've talked about this. You've talked about.
Are we done talking about white genocide?
Well, no, I'm coming to the same part, because you seem very resistant to the idea of marriage. You've never got married. You've talked very scathingly about henpecked husbands. Just take a look.
That's true.
Guys get to a certain age and they're like, you know what? Women suck. Like, they're talking too much. They're not hot anymore. Like, you're fat, you're chubby, you're not as hot as you think you are. You fucking talk too much. You're a bitch.
So we'll obviously get to the brazen misogyny part of that a little later.
Well, no, Nick Fuentes should be married. He has a lot of money. He's rich for espousing all the fucking shit that he says. So why isn't he? Why doesn't he have a married? Why is he married? He doesn't even think that you should marry. He literally thinks you should marry explicitly to procreate. Why aren't you married just to procreate? Why don't you have 1 billion babies with a bunch of people? Like, what's going on with that? Where is that? Why don't you do stuff like that? Is it intentional? Oh, fuck.
But I'm just curious.
Oh, shit.
On the one hand, there's this terrible genocide going on of white people. On the other hand, you want people effectively to stop going near women because they all turn out to be so ghastly, so they shouldn't presumably procreate. So how does that work? I mean, aren't you, with your rhetoric, actively encouraging men not to associate with these ghastly women, therefore not have any more children? Therefore, you are contributing, Nick Fuentes, to the diminishing white population. I'm confused.
I mean, that's a good point. Why aren't you married just to have babies? It doesn't make any sense.
I tell my followers to get married all the time.
Why aren't you living by the principles that you set?
Them that it's best for everybody to get married. And I think that's the only way that you can have sex. I think that's the
why aren't you married?
only illicit way as a Catholic
Why
is,
don't you
to
get
have
married
sex
then?
is within marriage.
Why don't you get married?
I'll get married later. It's been difficult for me because
But you think that people should get married young. So why aren't you married now?
people are shooting at me at my house. I don't know that I don't want to.
But you're rich and you decided to stay in a non-white area. You even admitted that yourself. None of this makes any sense. Nothing that he's saying makes any sense. He's afraid of black people, but he's also rich, and he still lives in a non-white area, but he's afraid because people are shooting at him, but nobody's actually shooting at him, right? His perspective is actually very popular right now. That's why he's been highlighted and put on like a bunch of different shows. So what is he? He's just saying words.
Have kids and a wife, my wife would be screaming about that. Me, I have to be able to take risks and be able to say these things. It's difficult to bring a family into a life that's like that. But for my followers, I tell them to get married. But what's happening with women?
You literally just told your followers. Well, hang on. In that clip, you literally told followers, women, they get old, they get fat, they get ugly, they get very annoying. So where's the incentive to get married to women? There isn't one. You're actively telling them the opposite.
You're extrapolating a lot. We can complain.
Just quoting you.
He's just holding up the task on his own beliefs. You're extrapolating. Stop. You're using facts and logic to own me. Oh. It's just kind of funny, dude. Yeah, your biological clock is ticking. Why don't you have any kids? What's going on here?
Back yourself again.
No, but you're extrapolating and saying, well, you say women are annoying, so therefore, what's the incentive? We have to do it in spite of the fact that they are annoying. We have to do it in spite.
So why haven't you, man? Like, your argument is obviously not true because you're under constant threat. Like, no, nobody believes that. Why? He literally said earlier that he still lives in a fucking non-white area. If you're so afraid, why haven't you moved to a safer place? What's going on here?
Spite of the fact that they talk too much, we can get them to lose weight. We can put them on peptides. We can get
So why don't you do that?
them to the promised land. But it's going to be.
Do you think this view of women may be why none of them want to go near you?
Oh, you should see my DMs. It is quite the opposite. They're called the Groipettes. And I'm
okay. So then you have like a bunch of people that are interested in you. Why aren't you pursuing them? Again, it's just like I think he's just fucking gay, honestly. He should just admit it. Yeah, you know what? I have gay thoughts. And so like I stay away from it, but I know I can't act on them. Something like that. Just say that. Just be honest, dude. You're gay.
I'm actually batting them away. Granted, not all of them are attractive. Some of them are attractive.
Are you actually? Look, just to clear up one of the many theories about you. I've no idea what the answer is, and you haven't got to answer. But are you actually attracted to women?
It's a good question. Let's hear it.
I am attracted to women.
You're not gay?
No. But I will say that women are very difficult to be around.
Okay.
So.
Why? Why are women difficult to be around? Oh, is it because he's not a particularly masculine man that can command a room, or what's going on with that?
There's that.
And do you think they should have the right to vote?
Yeah, the cowboy that got away, true.
I do not. No, absolutely not.
That's crazy.
They should stay at home?
Well, yeah.
Just vape. They just vape all day. Women just stay home and they just vape. You know?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So basically, you're just a misogynist old dinosaur, aren't you? For a young guy.
Yeah.
I mean, I know I'm the boomer. I know I'm the boomer here. But actually, you're a 27-year-old dinosaur, aren't you? Aren't you, Nick Fuentes?
Ooh,
all women.
Neat Fuentes. Did he call him Neat Fuentes? Dude, did you hear that? That's a next level fucking internet meme on that one.
I am.
All women are annoying. All women grow old. They all get fat. Says the guy. Have you ever had sex?
Aren't they supposed to get fat when they have babies? Isn't that the point?
No, absolutely not.
Wow. Says the guy who's never got laid.
Yeah.
That's the thing, though. You boomers, it's
you think
always
you're an expert in women,
free love.
given you've never got laid?
Yeah, we are going back to the Stone Age. You're absolutely right.
I'm not understanding. Just get married to somebody and have a baby. What the fuck's going on here?
You're talking about empathy, and your kids are empathetic, and they would never laugh at a joke about the Holocaust, and you're a misogynist. You're a simp.
But then you're making fun of me for being a virgin.
Yourself. You're totally henpecked. That's the problem. So
Let me
are
play,
going back to
another clip of yours about women.
A lot of women want to be raped. And when I say raped, I mean...
Whoa, what the hell?
Like, that sounds bad when I say it like that. But there's like a lot of women that really want a guy to beat the shit out of them.
Wow, this is definitely not true. Okay.
But also, they have to pretend, but part of it is they have to pretend like they don't.
That's crazy coming from somebody who's never actually like meaningfully interacted with a woman.
You think women want to be raped, do you?
That's what the studies show, Piers. That is what the...
There's no study that shows women want to be raped at all. You might be talking about a study where it comes to rape fantasies, you know, consensual rape fantasies. That's a very different thing than actually wanting to be assaulted. But okay. You know, hey guys, studies. Remember the study before that he brought up that was completely fucking full of shit? Oh shit, fuck.
These statistics
but that's what you believe,
they have
is it?
fantasies.
Wait, is this guy? Oh wait, he's a liar. Oh, he's a liar. Right.
They have fantasies about it. I don't think that they want to actually get raped.
Oh, so then why would you say that?
But there's a study out there. Get ready.
And why wouldn't that be your first answer? Why is that your answer after you get pushed hard as fuck? What the fuck? How did you get away?
This. It says 62% of women have rape fantasies. And if you read anything that they're reading, if you watched what they're watching, what do you think 50 Shades of Grey is about? What do you think Twilight is about? I mean, that's just true.
Twilight? I don't know about that. Have you watched Twilight? It's kind of gay.
You think women want to have the shit beaten out of them, as you said?
Yeah, and it's very disturbing, but it's true.
Do you think your views on women...
Yeah, so this obviously is not true. Again, women, just like men, have rape fantasies. This is different. He's trying to, like, he doesn't care about... This is the same thing from before when he, like, lied about how many black people commit violent crimes. Like, he was like, 1 in 20 black guys will actually will murder somebody. It's like, well, that's actually not the statistic. It's this is from, like, 1958 that says, like, 1 in 20 black men are at risk of being murdered. And then he got embarrassed publicly, and he just doubled down on it.
Might change if you actually... ever had a relationship with one or had sex and actually had a proper relationship. I mean, people say the reason you're so angry about women is you're basically an incel.
I'm not angry.
Well, I think it's voluntary for him, so, you know.
Angry about it.
You sound very angry. You sound very, very angry about women. They get
I'm passionate. It's an issue
You're
I'm
not passionate.
passionate about.
You're sounding very bitter about women. As if women have done a terrible disservice to you. But when? You don't have relationships, you don't have sex. When are they doing these terrible things to you that's made you so hateful towards women? I'm really...
It's called a victim complex.
Curious.
Was that... I don't think that was a hateful clip. I think I was laughing. I said they want men to beat the shit out of them. And that's just true. I mean, when you look at the state of modern women, all they do is lay in their bed, doom scroll, they're chilling out. They're getting a little... Look, they're getting a little fat. It is what it is. I don't know what the average weight is, but they're getting a little heavy. And any guy that is playing the field these days will tell you that. I mean,
I find it so funny because, like, here's the thing. Some of this might be true, but for everybody. And I always love it when one group, whether it's like male advocates or female advocates or whatever, and they'll be like, yeah, men or women ain't shit today. And blah, blah, blah. You all suck. Young people are fucking, they all suck. And young people have always sucked in different ways as time goes on. But they make it seem like it's an exclusive problem. Like, oh yeah, all men are great. It's just the women that suck ass. Or it's like all women are great. It's just the men that suck ass. Like, no, man, you're all pretty fucking annoying and terrible. Everybody is getting fat. Everybody's doom scrolling. Everybody's doing this. Everybody's doing that. This is how it is. He's saying this so that like fucking 900-pound people can sit at home and blame women for all their problems in the world. That's literally the whole thing. It's like, holy fuck.
And I know a lot of the Chads. I am an incel. I'm friends with a lot of Chads like Bradley Martin, Clavicular. They agree with me. You know, they're sort of like...
Oh, Bradley Martin, the rape apologist, who's friends with Andrew Tate, the fucking sex trafficking rapist. Wow, yeah, that's a guy to be... That's a really good guy to be friends with. Like, it's great stuff. Big bragging rights on that one.
This alliance between the guys that don't have sex and the guys that get the most sex. We know what women are about. It's the guys in the middle.
Whoa, the guys in the
like
middle.
You in the middle. It's the beta male orbiters that say, she's amazing. You're a misogynistic pig.
No, I think most women are shit. I think most men are shit. So... That's pretty much all it is. I don't know what to tell you.
Because I don't know what that is. I guess.
Well, come on. Let me explain to you what I think it is. I think when a 27-year-old guy who's never got laid, never had a meaningful relationship with a woman, says that women shouldn't be allowed to vote, they should stay at home, that all they do is fantasize about being raped and being beaten up. That's what they want. That they're annoying. That they get fat. That they get ugly. That's a misogynist. Now you may not understand it because your knowledge of women is so incredibly tiny. But actually, you are the embodiment of a misogynist. It couldn't be clearer. And if I was in a way, you have the deep-rooted misogyny of some of the actual boomers I know. Yeah, here you are.
Well, he's just going to say yes. Like Nick Fuentes' strategy has just been to yes and everybody because like he has to take like a beta perspective on everything. because he's like a little sniveling coward guy. Like he's just a little baby guy. That's pretty much all it is.
27 years old. And most of the current studies show that a lot of men are really disenfranchised from society, no longer have physical relationships with women if they've ever had them, never associate with women, and build up instinctively misogynist views about women. And I fear you're in that position. You're just a bit of a lonely guy who wants to get laid and can't.
I don't think so. I think that like Nick Fuentes could get laid if he wanted to. Nick Fuentes is a gay person. That's it. Nick Fuentes is gay. That is where we are at here. I think we need to just acknowledge that and just kind of move on and stop pretending that he's like this. That he could get it if he wanted to. He doesn't want to. Maybe he's afraid. Maybe he's afraid a woman will judge him or something. I have no idea. Maybe he's asexual, guys. Maybe he's trans. I don't know.
For whatever reason. And it's made you bitter about women. And I don't know where that's come from, but it's fascinating.
No, see, here's the thing. First of all, you're very caught up in the labels. It's always, you're a racist, you're a misogynist.
You said you were a racist.
Mean nothing to me. Oh,
you gave yourself,
can I respond?
You gave yourself the label.
What is this?
You said, I am a racist. I didn't give you the label. Okay. You said, Nick Fuentes, I am a racist.
Calm down. Calm down.
Did you or didn't you?
It's okay.
Did you?
Yeah.
Okay.
But
so
here's
I didn't give you the label.
Damn, Piers is actually getting worked up now, dude. Piers is losing control of his, he's losing control. He's losing control, guys. Terrible stuff. We hate to see it. We hate to see him losing control here.
Label? You did.
Why are you yelling at me?
Because you're trying to infer something that didn't happen. You said, I gave you the label of being a racist. No, you did. You said, I'm a racist. You gave yourself the label.
Rip.
You're going to have to...
Hey, calm down. Calm down, buddy.
Tone it down a little, all right? You're going to have to bring it down a notch and relax. This is just an interview, okay? Please calm down. All I said is you're hung up. I didn't say you gave me that. Maybe I did.
You did.
But here's what I mean. What I mean is you're just hung up on proving you're a misogynist. Okay, you're a racist. Okay, you deny the Holocaust. And I'm not about the labels,
you
man.
Didn't deny
I'm
the
just
Holocaust.
past that.
He's not about the labels, dude. He's not. He's just like very fluid, okay? He doesn't like labels, you know? Got it. I love that.
As I said to you, look, Nick, I just wanted to go over the stuff that everyone uses out there about you and get you to respond. And we are getting, I think, a long way in this interview. Right?
Okay.
You didn't deny the Holocaust. You accepted there's been a Holocaust of at least...
Pierce, you're getting fucking trolled, dude.
6 million Jews.
I'm a maximalist. I'm a Holocaust.
That is significant. You
did
admit you're a racist.
It's just, he's just never going to get it. Pierce is just never going to understand what's happening here. It's just fucking insane.
And you have spelled out a thought process about women, which is the purest definition of misogyny that I've ever seen. And you said you're not gay. So we're getting somewhere.
Yeah. Well, look, and I own the labels, okay? But I just don't care that much about them.
That's fine.
I feel like the whole...
I'm not saying
this is like a weird...
I'm not saying you have to care. Nick, you don't have to care about any of it. I promise you. Right? That's not why I got you on the show. I wanted to give you a fair crack, which I think I have. We've gone over a lot of stuff. We've got a bit more to go on. I genuinely don't think I've ambushed you with anything you couldn't have been expecting.
No.
I don't think I've been overtly hostile. In fact, when you've asked me to calm down, I've calmed down. I don't want to have a hostile, angry, shouty match with you. I simply want you to spell out exactly what you've meant about all these things, and people can then be the judge of them. So let's take another break, and we'll come back and talk about Donald Trump, Tucker Carlson, Candace Owens, and others.
Ooh, I wonder, that sounds like the least interesting part of this conversation. I can't wait.
Christmas is peak time for online shopping sprees, but that also means it's peak time for hackers and data brokers who steal your information online.
Whoa.
The solution is very simple. Use ExpressVPN to shut them down. Top-tier encryption keeps your activity hidden, even on dodgy public Wi-Fi, which is perfect for holiday travel. You can set your location to 105 different countries, which lets you access content from all over the world. Users save hundreds on streaming and even plane tickets with ExpressVPN, all for $3.49 a month. It's a no-brainer. I use it, and you should too. Right now, you can get an extra 4 months of
I love that, Pierce. I love that, what you're saying right now. This is amazing.
VPN, if you go to expressvpn.com/Piers.
We love a good VPN, guys.
VPN's lowest price ever, plus 4 extra months of service. Just scan the QR code on the screen or go to expressvpn.com/Piers. Okay, back with Nick Fuentes. You began your show in 2017, the same year as Trump was inaugurated for
2017? What the fuck? What year is it? 9 years ago? You're telling me when this guy was, 18 years old? Wow. The guy, it's just so fucking interesting to me. It's so interesting. This guy's 27 now in 2015, so 8 years ago. Fucking 19 years old. Makes a podcast about how like everybody's tired of all these different things and about all these like young men feeling disenfranchised. He's never done anything. He's like, oh wow, another like almost 30 or like fucking like 30-year-old fucking individual online talking about politics, completely disconnected from society, never having worked a real meaningful job ever. Holy fuck. Nick Fuentes, Hassan Parker, like how many different fucking people do we need to see that just fit this exact mold? Asmongold, it's all the same fucking people. Holy shit. I guess it makes sense because the only people that like these people are people who don't work real jobs. When do people start understanding that the cosplay is like over? When do they realize it's a cosplay? Cosplaying actually like having struggled with being a middle-class American and like understanding what it's like to go to a fucking job you hate. They don't understand any of this shit. Like, holy fuck.
For his first term in office. You supported him at that time, but you've grown increasingly disillusioned, I think it'd be fair to say. Let's play a recent clip from you about Trump.
Whoa.
We played this game in the first term. We're 10 years in. And you still have these people, I hate to say it, but they're just like in denial. And they're like, okay, everybody, let's all go on Twitter and let's tell Trump, don't screw over your voters. Okay. Hey, Trump, don't hire John Radcliffe in the CIA. Like, what are we doing? We lost. It's over. The time to make demands was during the election when he needed the votes. He's a lame duck president. He doesn't need anything from us. He's not even on Twitter. He's on Truth Social. So what are you talking about? We're going to all rally and tell him.
This is the one good thing about Nick gaining some popularity, is that there's some dissension in the ranks now. It's pretty good. It's good stuff.
Don't hire yet another neocon.
Now, over the weekend, you posted this on...
To be fair, Piers is more popular in the UK and more... Oh, I wasn't talking about Piers Morgan. I was talking about Nick Fuentes and shit. If that's what you're insinuating. No, I don't know. I don't really know Piers's like background.
On X, you said performative cruelty is the perfect phrase to characterize the Trump admin and the mood of the MAGA movement. In order to compensate for his compromises and failures, Trump has to fall back on mean-spiritedness to appeal to the basest instincts of its followers. It's really sad. I mean, do you think you're the best person, Nick Fuentes, to lecture people about performative cruelty?
Why? Are you accusing me of being cruel? Is that what that is?
Yeah.
How am I cruel?
You're cruel about black people. You're cruel.
Oh, well, I mean, in that specific the thing that Nick said, he wasn't being cruel, I don't think. I don't know why you would bring it, like, you showed a specific clip and now you're generalizing. It's weird, but okay.
About women. I mean, you're cruel about a lot of people, and you're very performative.
Okay. Asmongold worked for the IRS. Holy fuck, dude. I forgot that if you work a job, that's a career. This dude got popular when he was fucking young on the internet. Stop pretending you know what a career job is. Like, it doesn't matter. I don't know what you want me to tell you. This person started making content like fucking 10 years ago. What are you talking about? When he was like in his early 20s. He's never like had to actually exist in life with like a meaningful job. He's completely terminally online. He makes millions of dollars. What are you saying? Who cares if he worked for IRS? There's like McDonald's can be a career job if you have like career expectations and actual expectations onto yourself. These are the only difference between these different things. All right. He doesn't have to struggle and grind at a job for like a significant amount of time. That's Mill's word job for. All right. I forgot. I'm talking to fucking idiot 17-year-olds.
Okay. I don't think I'm performative. If anything,
there's a difference between working a job and working a career job. A job where you have to like literally pay your own bills and actually take care of people in a meaningful capacity, instead of like living at home and like not having any meaningful bills, still being on like different like systems and support systems. He's like, what are you talking about? He's a fucking goldfish, dude. What are you talking about?
saying everyone else is performative. I'm authentic.
That's like saying that fucking Hassan like worked a job at McDonald's before. It doesn't matter. We're talking about like a long form career job where you have like actual things that you are like meaningfully responsible for. Probably by your logic, never worked. You're right, dude. I think I'm actually going to ban you. So I think that's it. I'm actually getting one guy by some fucking moron. I worked a literal career job for 11 years where I was with somebody with like a fucking autoimmune disease that I had to support the both of us for. Like, do you have a fucking brain worm? What are you talking about? What the hell are you saying? What the fuck are you? What are you talking about? I'm getting like I'm getting stun locked. I'm allowing myself to get stun locked here. I'm allowing myself to get stun locked here. Holy fuck. Maybe I'm just a dumb idiot. 12 years ago, Asmongold's 30. So when he was 18, he worked for the IRS for a little bit for 2 tax seasons. Wow, that's crazy. What is a tax season? He worked a job for the IRS for 3 months twice. Holy fuck. That is the exact same thing as working like a meaningful job supported career position that was year round where you had actual responsibilities. Holy shit. Holy fuck, dude. The guy volunteered to help for a season. And they're like, oh, Papa, by that logic, you working at this bus company for 11 years, having your vacation taken from you and other fucking, and not actually getting a fucking, seniority pay or any of these things, and having a union that failed you, and like, hemorrhaging money because you had to fucking support someone else. That's not really very relatable. What is really more relatable is, he worked for 3 months twice. That's actually much more relatable. You don't really seem to understand. You don't really seem to get it. Incredible. I love that. I love that for you. I love that so much. That's amazing. I love that so much. You're right. I'm a fucking idiot.
Authentic. Whatever you want to say about me, it's real. It's from the gut. But yes, I do think it's performative.
Wow, I was brought up.
And what I mean by that is, when they're doing the deportations.
I mean, dude, like, hey guys, do you want to know what it's like to pay for your health care when you're making like less than $50,000 a year, having to work like 60 hours a week to get your shit together? Working a tax season is fucking insane. Like, holy shit. If only. I worked a tax season and lived off welfare the rest of my life. Oh, okay, cool, man. Like, that's great. I love that. That's definitely not terminally online. He started fucking streaming when he was 19 and he got popular very quickly. What are we talking about?
They know the deportations.
All right, I gotta stop fucking melting down. I gotta stop getting triggered, dude. Okay, this is my fault at this point.
Are not where the base wants them to be.
Right,
they deported. The figures are disputed, but from my data, it's 300,000 in the year, which is not a massive deportation. They know the base is unhappy.
That's quite a lot. Well, it's because we know we can't, like, the mass deportation narrative was always a virtue signal, because we can't mass deport without destabilizing our economy. Because we have a level of dependence on illegal immigrants. And that kind of needs to be dealt with intelligently, instead of just being like, oh, deport everybody and destabilize the economy like fucking idiots. I mean, you can't mass deport everybody and do a tariff war at the exact same time. You get to pick one, because you're already putting a significant amount of economic stress onto like American citizens. You know what I mean? You kind of have to pick one. Fuck me.
With that. So what do? The deportations that they are carrying out, they do a big spectacle and they arrest everybody and they film it and they put a hype at it. And there's a meanness in there. They played that song, I think from Sabrina Carpenter or something, and they make it a joke. They make it glib. And they do that because they're not delivering on the promise. So they compensate.
That's true. My uncle gave me the job. Dude, you're trolling me. I guess I did get nepotism. That's true. I was able to get the job. It was an entry-level job that my uncle got me, but it did help me. That's true. Job still wasn't the most amazing thing in the world. Okay, I did get nepotism to help me get this job, to get a part-time job, which I was able to move forward. Although maybe I wouldn't have got the job if he wasn't, or maybe I wouldn't have gotten the promotion without my uncle. I don't know. Although apparently I was obviously willing to put up with not getting seniority pay and everything like that. It was like a new position that was like underpaid. But yeah, true. You got me, dude. You got me, bro. Probably much better if I worked for the IRS for a couple months every year. That would probably make it much more meaningful.
Say by doing it meaner.
Dude, I'm still getting fucking trolled. Holy fuck. I'm letting myself get fucking like 10 guyed at this point. I'm literally just fucking taking dicks in the ears. Holy shit. God damn it, dude. I'm getting fucking mean though. I'm letting it happen at this point. Holy fuck. God damn it, dude. What's wrong with me? Like, fucking goddamn it.
Or edgier, more mean-spirited, so that the base will overlook the fact that it's not happening. And I think that's by definition performative cruelty. You can call me a hypocrite, but it's definitely true about what they're doing in the administration.
You went to see Trump at Mar-a-Lago with Ye for dinner. What was that like?
It was very interesting. They're my two heroes. Ye is my hero. Trump is my hero.
Oh, that's great. My Hero Academia referenced.
Even though he's very disappointing, I still a personal hero of mine, and he's a remarkable person. It was a great conversation. We got along pretty well. He liked me. I liked him. It was a love fest.
He was your hero?
I mean, he got attacked afterwards for supping with the white supremacist devil. I mean, do you accept you are a white supremacist?
No, absolutely not.
Well, he is, though. What is he talking about? What?
You don't think white people are superior to black people?
No, I'm a Christian, so I believe everybody is equal before God.
Oh,
including women.
So then why don't you want? Then how come you want to exclude non-white people from the country?
Yes.
So you give women equal rights, then?
Dude, I can't stop taking the rage bait. Okay, stop. I'm sensitive. I'm a sensitive guy.
Great. No. Great. Okay, so you just talked a lot of bullshit, didn't you?
No. Why are you like mad about this? No.
You want women to be treated equally before God, but you don't want to give them equal rights.
Yeah, because women and men are different.
No,
do you believe there are two genders?
It's your view.
Whoa, how many genders are there? This is definitely the intellectual discourse we need. Hey, guys, do you think that how many genders do you think? Do you think there's 2 genders? Gotcha, liberal. By the way, I'm about to go home and pray to my magical apple curse Bible. Like, okay, great stuff. We're definitely doing a facts and logic.
Think there's 2 genders?
I do think there are 2 genders, yes.
Okay, and so you mean there's distinction? There are 2 distinct genders.
Yes. Separate but equal. Wait, what the fuck? Yes. Equality doesn't mean that people are exactly equal when it comes to people. I mean, I would use the typical of like, oh, you think black and white people are equal, right? It's like, yeah, most people do. But they're not exactly the same. Some people burn more in the sun. Some people have a higher credit score. You know what I mean? It's a beautiful thing, I think, personally. But like, it doesn't mean exactly equal. It means like equal opportunity. Like my wife and I are equals. We both satisfy different roles. Her role is equal to mine. I don't value her role in our relationship less than mine just because she's a woman. That would be ridiculous. That's literally it. And if you were married and you actually enjoyed your partner and you loved your partner, you would realize like, oh, look at how much value a woman could bring to your life, like increasing your empathy. Like ever since I started dating my wife, like I've been significantly more successful. So like not just financially, mentally, physical, emotionally, people like me more. Yeah, but like this is the problem is you have people who don't really understand life talking about this stuff. I mean, at least Charlie Kirk had like a wife when he would talk about this stuff, even if he was definitely gay, which I think is a beautiful thing, by the way. You know, but Nick can't even muster up the bare minimum of getting married to a girl and not caring about her. It's pretty interesting. I don't know. Maybe he is gay. Maybe he's selfish. Maybe he's already accomplished a lot. Saying black people are bad. And creating a victim complex for his audience that he's not gonna be able to find a woman to help him struggle. You know, I think that's great. The strongest relationships are usually created through struggle. So he probably isn't gonna be able to do that. So he's probably just gonna, I don't know, be not able to form a meaningful relationship. I don't know.
I think we should all have the same rights to.
Well, if they're meaningfully distinct, biologically distinct, and they have different social and biological roles, I think it would follow that we would treat them a little bit differently in the law.
Do you think the Catholic Church's teachings reflect that?
I do. Yeah, there's no female priests. Have you ever seen that?
Do you think?
Yeah, religion is like sexist, Piers. What are you talking about? You can't virtue signal about sexism when you're religious, at least like especially if you're a devout religious person. What?
The Catholic Church thinks all women should be deprived of the vote?
Whoa.
Yeah, I think so.
No, they don't.
I think they do, yeah.
This new liberal Catholic Church doesn't think that, dude. You know, the new liberal. Papa God, I recognize my wife's dynamic in our relationship, but she does different jobs. That shouldn't be seen as equal. Do you have like a mental issue? What? Why wouldn't that be seen as equal? What are you talking about? Why isn't that seen as equal? What? What are you talking about? Oh, you got me killed. I'm getting triggered again.
Church position is women shouldn't be allowed to vote.
I think so, yeah, but I'm not positive.
No, it's bullshit.
Wouldn't you be positive about that? I'm going to make that claim.
Oh, it should be.
It should be. So if you were Pope, that's what you do. You could be Pope because you're celibate.
That's true.
That's true. And I'm also from Chicago, like the Pope. But look, right. I mean, women, it says in the Bible that women have no...
Why are we talking about Nicholas Diorio? What the fuck is going on here?
No authority over men, and they can't teach men, and that's why there's no female priests.
There's a lot of things in the Bible. I mean, do you take every word of the Bible as sacrosanct?
Well, yeah, it's inspired scripture.
That's all of it. All of it is sacrosanct.
That's really interesting because this was streamed. Oh, it was streamed today. I thought this was streamed yesterday. I almost got an own, guys, but it's Monday. Fuck!
Logical debate. Well, it is Catholic doctrine that women should not lead and teach. I mean, you're not interacting with what I'm saying. Why can't women?
My mommy was my religion teacher. What the fuck do I do about that, dude? Oh, it's over.
Be priests?
They should be.
Okay, well, you're not Catholic. That's not a Catholic position.
I am a Catholic. There's many things I disagree with the Catholic Church.
Okay. Well, that kind of is contrary because the whole basis of being Catholic is accepting. It's accepting the authority of the pontiff.
You can be a member.
Guys, the whole point of being Catholic is to accept the authority of a book that's like a few thousand years old. That was, where we praise a Jewish person, our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. It's a beautiful thing. We love it.
Of a religion and disagree with parts of that religion. Perfectly reasonable.
It's a beautiful thing.
You could be, you could say
you're an
that, but it wouldn't be
extremist.
true.
If you're an extremist, you can't. Okay. Obviously, you never deviate.
That's just not rigorous.
You never deviate if you're an extremist. But even the Constitution's been amended. Was it 20?
Bro, if you pay all the bills and she just does the housework, is that equal? What are you talking about? What are you saying to me right now? I'm sitting here telling you that the roles that my wife brings and the roles I bring to a relationship are equal. and I respect her as my equal. And you're like, oh, what if you work and she stays home? That's not even what I was saying. Okay. But also, if you just work and then she stays home and takes care of your house and your kids, that's, I would say, pretty equal. Have you? Oh, fuck! I forgot. You guys don't own a home. None of you guys like live in a house by yourself. None of you guys are actually married. Bro, I will fucking take working 12-hour days over cleaning my house any day of the fucking week. I don't give a fuck, okay? I hate cleaning my house. I don't give a shit, okay? Especially if I have kids. Well, I mean, I want to be around my kids, but like, yeah, dude, if you're staying home, especially with young kids, you're taking care of young kids, yeah, I think that's equal. I think that can be equal in your relationship's like dynamic. Okay. What? I don't know what to tell you. What? Oh my God.
27 times? People talk about this sacrosanct document. It's like, it's been amended 27 times.
Goodness.
Yeah.
Oh my, this is not rigorous intellectually. This is very
Just a statement of fact.
Theology. Okay. But it's fine. Where were we? We were talking about Trump and somehow we got
on
into
Trump,
your
look,
white
on
knighting
Trump,
for women's rights.
On Trump, well, I think women should have the same rights as you and I. You don't.
That's so beautiful. I love that too, Piers.
That's fine.
Put on the pink hat, bro. Put on the pink hat. We're waiting.
What's the pink hat for?
For the march, for the women's march. Are we going to see you at the women's march, protesting for women's rights and all that?
I think women should have equal rights to men. Period.
Well, I think that Piers feels like we've made enough progress with women and that feminism is unnecessary nowadays. So, yeah.
Tampons in case your female friends get a period or something. Like, it's crazy.
I'd have no problem giving a female friend a tampon, would you? I don't suppose you've ever seen a tampon, have you?
He's so stupid. I don't know why it made me chuckle.
Gross. Absolutely not.
Why? What's so gross about a bloody vagina? Honestly, it's just blood out of a fucking pussy. Who gives a shit?
You think tampons are gross?
Yeah, they're filled with period blood. Yeah, it's kind of gross.
Wow.
Are you into that? You like that?
Have you ever seen
a lot of tampons?
It is what it is, dude. If you have it, well, he's never gonna have kids, but if you have a daughter, you're gonna have to deal with that kind of shit. So
you've ever seen it, have you?
I've seen them. I've seen them before.
You've been that close to a woman? Really?
No, I've seen them. Look, I used to live with women, so I've seen them around the house.
I bet you've seen videos, haven't you?
What? What are we doing here, Piers?
I'm not sure.
You really hate that.
I'm not sure.
You're more impressed that I'm a misogynist than you are about anything. It's
not
very
really.
revealing.
I'm actually more exercised about your blatant, self-admitted racism than I'm about anything. But the misogyny.
I'm not really triggered by it. It's just pathetic and like low IQ behavior. So like, who cares? You know, I feel like you should be like, hey, that's wrong. But it's like, I don't know. Like, that's the outreach farming is part of this. You know, Nick Fuentes is the personification of Twitter. Twitter is like literally just saying dumb shit online and then getting attention for it. So.
He runs a close second. Let me ask you about Tucker Carlson, because you had a long sit down with Tucker Carlson, in which he was, oddly, I like Tucker, we get on well, I was with him last week in London, but he gave me a harder time than he gives you. And then afterwards, he was more critical. And then,
well, Tucker Carlson is like a propagandist. He always pushes propaganda. Even when he had his performative Crossfire show, he got fucking absolutely destroyed by Jon Stewart. And I think that started his hatred of Jewish people, which is probably why he likes Nick Fuentes, because he got absolutely fucking steamrolled. And then he just lies for money all the time. I mean, he got fired from Fox News for costing them almost $1 billion because he knowingly lied about the Dominion voting machines. Like, he knew he lied. He was in text messages being like, oh, this is fucking bullshit, basically. So I was like, oh, okay. Like, yeah, that's the guy. Hey, I like this guy a lot.
and then you said this about Tucker.
He's a handler. He handles people. That's what he does. He's a fucking liar and a handler. He goes around telling people, I don't know anything. I don't know. Oh, I know nothing. I don't even have a phone. I am just a clueless tourist. I just travel to all these countries and, you know.
Was this beforehand?
I don't trust him. And I don't care, you know. Wow. Maybe that alienates me from people in the conservative movement. I don't care. I'm not going to be a part of it. I'm not going to be a party to whatever that is. Whatever that CIA bullshit is, I'm not going to be a part of it. So, you know. Now that I've heard enough from Tucker and I've heard enough from other people and I've seen enough, this guy's not who he says he is, not an ally. Stay the fuck away from me. You're weird.
Whoa,
you're weird.
Dude, what the hell, bro? He's got to be, I thought he was a feminist icon.
See, what would have been great is if you'd said that to him when you were sitting opposite him.
Well, when I was sitting opposite him at the dinner and in the interview, he was nothing but nice. He was very nice to me and very cordial. And
you didn't even say he was like mean. You were just saying that he's like a propagandist.
He didn't call me an anti-Semite, and he didn't even press me on it at all. And I thought he would, and I almost wanted him to. He was nothing but nice, and we had a great time. We had a really great dinner, really great interview, and I felt really good about it. And the next week on my show, I said, he really surprised me. He's great. And then every interview he's done since.
I don't think that Tucker would be that offended by Nick Fuentes. Because I don't think that he's genuine about anything, so it doesn't really matter. I don't think he would get offended. So
all he does is call me an anti-Semite. He goes, well, I hate his anti-Semitism, and I wonder why people like him. And so I just think that's two-faced. So after that experience, it kind of turned me off. I didn't like that, but he's going to do what he's going to do. He's still a nice guy, but I think he's two-faced.
What about Candace Owens?
Whoa.
You had a sit down with her. She called you out on a few of your more incendiary comments. You've been attacking her quite virulently recently. What?
I'll say I love the fucking I love what's going on between like all these different fucking conservatives just eating each other from the inside. It's so funny to me. Where it's working out great. It's working out great.
What's going on there?
Well, it's me and her. We're so complicated. We're on and off. It's very passionate on both sides. I think there's this intense desire to be friends, but a frustration where we disagree.
Well, unfortunately, she has mental health issues, so it's interesting. She's fucking struggling hard, dude. She's making up like weird lies about thinking the French government wants to fucking kill her. It's actually unhinged.
With each other, there's a rivalry. But I thought we were going to have a friendly conversation, and then she kind of did the same thing. We're going to go on a show during the war with Iran. We're literally in the middle of a war. And she texted me the day before the United States bombed Fort O, and she said, would you like to come on my show? I said, absolutely. I said, is this going to be about Iran? She goes, I don't do setups. I said, yeah, let's do it. I come on the show, and then she's like got this weird hostile demeanor. She's doing the clip thing. Then she puts it behind a paywall. It was ridiculous. So that really was.
Wow, it's crazy. Everybody around you is just snaking you. Wow, that's either true or maybe you're just a victim. The Jews don't like him. Black people don't like him. Candace doesn't like him. Tucker Carlson doesn't like him. Piers Morgan doesn't like him. Everything's a setup. Everybody's out to get me. I'm a victim. I'm a victim. I'm a victim. That is literally this entire conversation. That is that is the whole fucking thing. Holy shit. That is incredible. We love this.
It's not nice. And then I think this whole Charlie Kirk thing, I think she's gone insane. I think she's absolutely lost her mind. So
why?
I feel sorry for her husband.
What did you feel when Charlie Kirk was assassinated? Where were you when you heard about it?
I was literally pissing. Well, actually, I was streaming, and you guys were like, "Dude, Charlie Kirk died," and I was like, "What are you talking about?" And then when I looked it up on Twitter, I was like, "Wow, that was fucking crazy." We lost a real patriot that day, guys. It's fucking terrible.
I was at my house, and a friend of mine who was actually at the event texted me and said, Charlie got shot. I said, who? He said, Charlie Kirk. I said, oh my gosh, that's terrible. And honestly, it was devastating. I didn't like Charlie Kirk at all. And we had an intense rivalry, and he hated me. But honest to God, I was devastated.
I'm pretty sure he just ignored Nick. The intense rivalry. It's kind of saying a lot. This is a little much. This is a little more than it was actually. I don't think it was an intense rivalry. Fuck me, dude.
And I was emotionally affected by it. I didn't even do a show that night because I was beside myself. So it was rough. I mean, it was hard to watch.
You didn't like the guy, but you were beside yourself? I mean, I was like, whoa, that was crazy, because it was pretty intense, but I wasn't beside myself. What the fuck?
When you say you were beside yourself, I mean, you hated him.
I don't hate anybody. I didn't hate him, but I really didn't like him. I intensely disliked him, and
he called you vermin, didn't he?
He did. Yeah, he hated me also.
Also, you just said you don't hate people. I'm very confused. It sounds like you almost immediately couldn't. It sounds like one sentence to the other one, you completely folded in your thought there. But okay.
But you were still beside yourself when you heard what happened to him.
I was. I thought it was disgusting what was done to him, and it was tragic, and it was horrifying.
Do you fear an attack like that on yourself?
Maybe he was inside of himself. Maybe he was gooning to femboy porn or something, so he didn't really have couldn't get to the stream that night.
If you up your own security because of this, because your profile's got exponentially higher since what happened to Charlie Kirk.
Wasn't it like the same day that Charlie Kirk was assassinated? Steven Crowder was like, "Hey, we're now the #1 podcast in America" on his fucking Twitter account. He was just waiting to make that update.
I have increased my security, and but something similar like that happened to me. Someone came to my house with a gun about a year ago, almost exactly.
I think it was didn't an old woman go to his house and then he waved a gun or something? Is that what he's talking about?
Trying to kill me, and he was shot and killed in my alleyway.
Oh,
so I've had increased security for a while. It's a bad time out there, and I do believe it was a left-wing person that killed him. I think it was a left-wing person that tried to kill me. Whoa. So yeah, I take it very seriously.
Elon Musk said on his X platform that
I remember the old lady going to his house and then he opened the door and like pushed her or something like that. Isn't that what happened? An armed triple homicide suspect came for him in 2024. Wow. And the police shot him. It's terrible. I'm so sorry that happened to you, Nick. I don't understand that you say that he said this doesn't really make any sense. He has money. None of this really makes any sense. Why don't you move if you're so worried about this stuff? He says he lives in a non-white neighborhood, and he doesn't like that, but he still lives in like a non-white neighborhood, and he's rich because he can afford a bunch of security. And it doesn't make any sense. Oh, the old woman knocked on his door and he pepper sprayed her, right?
You're a Fed. You're a paid-up hire of the government. Is that true?
Oh, he's a Fed? Oh my God.
100. You've never worked for the government in any capacity.
I've never talked to federal law enforcement. And actually, I've testified to that fact under oath when I was subpoenaed by the Congress. People leave that part out. I got subpoenaed, I think, in January 2022, I think it was. And I was deposed by the subcommittee, the House Select Subcommittee on January 6th. And they asked me.
You guys remember when Nick Fuentes was talking to like Sneeko and I think Destiny? And then and Sneeko was like, look, the House of Representatives is paying attention to me. They're afraid of me because they were playing Nick Fuentes on their shit. It was just, I don't know if you guys remember this. It was very weird. Oh, shit.
Me, did you speak with any federal law enforcement? And under oath, I said, no, I've never had contact with them. I've never turned over devices. So no, absolutely not.
There's been footage that's come out again this week. This is you at the January the 6th riots. Let's take a look.
It appears we are taking the Capitol.
Yeah, boys. Woo! We're insurrecting the government.
Keep marching and don't relent, never relent. Break down the barriers and disregard the police. This Capitol belongs to us now. The police are evacuating the Capitol.
Now you're heard there shouting down your loud hailer, break down the barriers and disregard the police. The Capitol belongs to us now. What did you mean by that?
That's a funny clip. Obviously, because obviously Nick was trying to take part of the insurrection. Wow, that's a lot of fun. Okay, great stuff, man. We love it. We love the democracy.
I think it's pretty self-explanatory. The Capitol belongs to the people.
Disregard the police. So you don't support law and order.
No, I support law and order, but on that day, the police were brutal. The police killed somebody, Ashley Babbitt.
Yeah, she deserved to die. I don't know why we have to pretend that she didn't. Have you guys actually seen the video? Like, they were barricaded up with, like, I believe other Congress people inside of a room. The people were told not to go in there. The window was broken through and she jumped through and the guy was like, I'm going to shoot you. And they shot her. She deserved to die. Police weren't brutal. They were breaking into the fucking, they were literally breaking into the Capitol building when they were told not to be there. What are you talking about? What the fuck are these people talking about? I don't know. Why do we have to pretend Ashley Babbitt is like a good person? Like, oh, she was a veteran. Okay, well, she was a fucking idiot, dude. She shouldn't have done what she did. Why would she do that? Why would she disregard police orders? There's an entire crowd of people that were like fucking outside of there, threatening everybody in there. Like, what? Why do we need to pretend? Oh, it was a tragedy she died. No, like it's unfortunate that she made a bad decision. What do you want me to tell you? She made a bad decision and that she died. Like, that sucks. Don't do that. What?
And they were throwing people off of the rafters. They killed multiple people. So
when disregarding
throwing people off the rafters. What are you talking about?
The police is the.
I think there was like a police officer who took their own life because they were so traumatized by how horrible that event was. They were like understaffed.
First step to anarchy, isn't it?
Well, I think the first step to anarchy is when the government rigs the election, which is what happened.
But it didn't happen, right? Like, that's just a made up narrative. What is anybody's proof for rigging the election? Nothing. This is the thing that like gets me so much about this, because they'll say like, oh, why did so many people vote for Joe Biden then? It makes no sense. It does. You want to know why? Here's a simple solution, or the simple answer. Let's see what happened there. Oh, you had a week to vote. Oh, you got a week to vote. Usually it's a day. You got a week. And the mail-in ballots were pushed more because, COVID. But like outside of that, because nothing was ever found. There was never any election tampering found whatsoever. If there was, then Trump wouldn't have won a second term because they would have just oppressed him again. I don't know why they would have let him win this time. It doesn't even make any sense. It literally makes no sense. If he lost the first time because the election was tampered with, but the second time they magically couldn't. Oh, okay. But then like what it is I think that people have really disillusioned themselves into thinking that Trump is popular. Just to be clear, Trump beat two women and lost to a senile old man. Trump is a fucking moron. Like, why are we pretending he was an amazing president? He did very poorly in the first term. He actually got destroyed in the midterms. He had a stacked House and Senate, couldn't do fucking dick worth of shit. All I did were big tax cuts that we couldn't pay for and inflated the deficit by $350 billion before COVID even hit. He couldn't do anything with healthcare. We promised to do something with healthcare almost immediately. Did absolutely nothing. What did he do? We cut the individual mandate. Oh, but he couldn't replace it because he had no actual plan. He didn't do anything. He just floundered around. He basically went to the bank, took out money and said, I just made a bunch of money. That's what deficit spending increases are. And then he got voted out. Then COVID happened, and then he was able to turn that into a conspiracy theory. That's it. He sucked. But he beat 2 women. Because there are a lot of people that are like, yeah, you know what, I'm not comfortable with a woman being president. Obviously stupid behavior, but that's why Kamala and fucking Hillary lost. Among other things. It's not like they were great, but that was a deciding factor in this case. We call it the straw that broke the camel's back. Everybody likes to pretend that he's such an amazing president. He's fucking dog shit. Everybody believes that. It's fucking crazy.
That is when the government loses its legitimacy, and its enforcers, consequently, do also.
Well,
that's exactly what happened in 2020.
It's just fucking crazy. Yeah, he still has to figure out healthcare. Yeah, now they're trying to do a government institute HSA instead of Obamacare, which is will be devastatingly fucking stupid. They want to save money and they want to have something else to pull from. Because if you do something like that, that doesn't help whatsoever. It doesn't most people's expenses are in their premiums. Number one, and I think that they want to have a big collection of money sponsored by the government so that they can pull from it the same way they pull from Social Security, to be honest with you.
There is no evidence the government rigged the election. You know that. You're a bright guy.
Well, he doesn't have to know it, though. He just has to say a conspiracy that makes his dumb audience of fucking idiots feel good. That is what it means to be conservative right now. That'll probably change in a little bit, but...
Well, let's talk about
a decade, maybe. Once the conservatives are going to have to figure out who to go with next after Trump, because nobody's going to be able to carry with Trump, and he's going to get devastated in the midterms like he did last time. So they're going to have to figure that out. But
do you want to talk about the election of 2020?
Yeah, I think Trump lost it fair and square. I think he fought the wrong argument about the stolen election. I've said to him, to his face,
I agree.
The argument he should have said is that the deliberate suppression of things like the Hunter Biden laptop scandal from
the suppression of this Hunter Biden laptop scandal. Because Twitter took it down for revenge porn. Sorry, just to be absolutely clear, we gotta just talk about this real quick. It just had his cock on there and proved that he talked to fucking prostitutes. It wasn't that deep. There was really nothing going on there. There's nothing going on there. Stop it, please.
The media, by social media, by big tech, was actually a deliberate attempt to subvert the result of the election. And
what the fuck are you talking about? Hunter Biden's penis lost Trump the vote? Is that what you're trying to tell me right now? His penis? Hunter Biden's cock lost the fucking election. This is incredible. I never would have thought about that. There's something magical about Hunter Biden's fucking dick. That's fucking insane. Holy fuck. How did I not see it before? Am I a fucking idiot or what? Holy shit.
That's a much better argument because it's undeniable. When the New York Post that had that exclusive were basically shadow banned off all social media for the 2 weeks before the election, that was an absolute disgrace. And
the laptop penis thing? The laptop penis thing is a big thing? What are we talking about here? Oh, fuck. Wait, what the hell?
If I was Donald Trump, I would focus on that as being my main argument that election.
His penis?
Was slanted against him. When he goes off into saying that there was widespread rigging and voter systems were wrong, we've litigated all this now through various
penis. Wow.
Various court cases, various Republican judges have ruled there was no rigging of that kind. In fact, the American election system is accepted by most people around the world as being one of the best in the world, one of the most reliable. So I just think
we are the best. Can't deny it, dude. We are the best country in the whole universe.
He fought the wrong argument. If he said the deliberate suppression of damaging stories to the Bidens, which could have swung the election, was outrageous and unacceptable, I'm 100% behind it.
I'm 100%
But by building this spurious argument that it was all rigged through voting systems and so on, he lost me.
Well, I agree about the voting systems, but when they went into the machines, I think that was ridiculous. However, what has to be accounted for is that in 2016, 35% of the votes were cast by mail. By 2020, it was 70%. Because
whoa, I wonder why that would happen. What about, is there something called a COVID? I can't believe I just died here. I don't even know how the fuck that happened.
Because of the pandemic. So you double the amount of votes that happened by mail. They called it in-person early voting. They called it a variety of different things.
Who cares?
And the other thing that they changed is they solicited the mail-in ballots. So they sent ballots to people's houses. And once you do that,
who cares? Who cares if they made voting more accessible? Holy fuck.
I mean, you have absentee balloting normally, but it's a process. You got to give your social security number, your ID. They send it to you. There's regulations in place. This is an election where they double the amount of mail-in votes, and they sent ballots to people's houses. And when you do that,
who cares if that was true? Who gives a fuck? What?
You break the chain of custody. So they send the ballot out, and then they tell people return it at a 24-hour ballot drop site that's unsupervised. There's thousands of them, and they're going to hope that all the ballots that find their way into these drop boxes were filled out by the person that the ballot was intended for. And I know that didn't happen. I'll tell you why. My uncle has been dead for 26 years. He got a ballot in 2020. It was mailed.
Did he vote?
Mailed to my parents' house. And
did he vote? Did he vote? Did he actually vote? That would be considered voter fraud. Independent instances of voter fraud exist. Nothing big enough to sway the election happened in any capacity. That's what the people are saying. That's the fact of the matter. So, but okay, I mean, whatever you want to cope with. Just have to cope. This is, again, a victim complex. This is like the 10th different victim complex. Nick Fuentes is a victim of everything.
And you know that was happening in nursing homes. You know that was happening in apartment buildings.
But you also know that every independent body that has looked at this has concluded there was no widespread rigging, that it was a free and fair election, and Trump lost. And the bottom line is, he should stop going on about it anyway, because he won back the White House in 2024. By your, I mean, well, as you have been so keen to tell me, move on.
It's not really a separate argument. It's the same argument. If there was if the election was rigged against Trump, then how did he win a second time? Like, how did he win at all? Why wouldn't they just rig it again? How did he win in the first place? How did he ever win if everything was so rigged against him? Oh, it's because it wasn't, right? Because there is no actual. This is a fantasy novel that you guys are writing because you guys are victims. That's really what it boils down to.
Right? No one wants to look back too far.
That's a separate argument. I mean, you can say that he should stop talking about it, but whether it was rigged or not is actually relevant to what happened on January 6th. Because
right, but it wasn't rigged, so yeah.
What happened on J6 is people were outraged about it. People were furious that, by the way, there's never been an independent ballot audit in all the states where there was alleged to be rigging. That has not happened. And certainly it did not happen.
Why would you say alleged if you think it's a fact? What's going on with that, Nick?
Up until January 6th. And people said, this is ridiculous. They're stealing it. You know,
if people, honestly, if either you or Donald Trump or anybody else wants to show me, I said this to him when I interviewed him last, you know, if you show me the actual hardcore, incontrovertible evidence, then great. I've never seen it. Joe Rogan asked him. He didn't.
It doesn't exist. It doesn't exist.
Produce it with Joe Rogan. It's just never been produced. But look, I don't want to labor the point on that. So I suppose the more interesting question now, as your influence rises in the
the Democrats can only rig it when they're not in power. Yeah, true. That's the answer, right? Trump was in power, and somehow the Democrats rigged the election against him. But then when Trump wasn't in power anymore, they couldn't do it anymore. It makes so much sense. It makes so much sense, guys. Holy fuck.
Conservative movement in America, and there's a lot of splits going on amongst MAGA over a number of issues.
Whoa, MAGA. Okay, I didn't say a bad word. Stop it. Holy fuck.
And about you, and you know this, is your split with Trump irrevocable? Do you feel now, as we head towards the year of the midterms, that it's time to now look to who his successor will be, and who do you think that person should be?
Well, it's not irrevocable, but I am very pessimistic about this administration. And succession is something that I've been interested in for as long as I've been doing this show. And I think it's very clear that they are grooming J.D. Vance to be that successor. And by they, I mean Elon Musk, Tucker Carlson, Peter Thiel. There seems to be an organization that was put in place roughly around 2022 when Peter Thiel was very active in the midterm elections. He spent, I think, over $30 million, $15 million for Vance, $15 million for Masters, spent a lot of money in a lot of other congressional races, trying to unseat the Republicans that voted for impeachment in 21, and also building out a media market, building out a patronage network, funding things like Passage Press, Sovereign House, a number of other projects to create sort of like a self-contained media ecosystem. And Vance is clearly the selected nominee. That is who the interests want.
It's interesting because when he talks, like he tries to insinuate that there is a conflict of interest with everybody but him until we find out that he's probably getting paid by some fucking entity. We can't wait to find it, dude. Can't wait. That's it.
And they've been pushing for him very strongly. So I think he's the heir apparent right now. There's a forceful push. I've heard good things about him. I've heard bad things about him, too.
Do you think that it's bad that he's got a mixed race wife? Or, excuse me, that his relationship is like mixed race? What does he think about that?
Where I think it needs to go is I think we need to return to the message from 2016, what Trump said in the first election, which is we need to drain the swamp. We need to get the money out of politics. The super PAC.
What? He loves money in the politics. What? Oh, fuck me.
The special interests, put America first in foreign policy and the wars, close the border and deport the illegals, and reindustrialize America, bring back manufacturing, bring back jobs. We're in the
bring back
Cold War.
Guys, bring back manufacturing. That's what we need. We need to bring back minimum wage jobs jobs that pay below minimum wage. That's what we need. That's exactly what we need. Dude, we don't need to bring back manufacturing, and it's not going to pay enough to be meaningful. We're better off continuously expanding our growth and like providing services to the world than to like cutting ourselves off and not doing that. That makes no fucking sense. It's like, oh, hey, it'll take 10 years. By that time, AI is going to completely displace us anyway. But there's never a talk about like AI killing jobs or any like robotics killing jobs. But these jobs like disappeared in the first place from America. It was cheaper to do them elsewhere. That's literally it. That's why it was like that in the first place.
War with China. We need America to have
Jesus.
productive capacity again. We need America to have wealth. So I think whoever
is
is
still the most richest country in the world. What?
going to bring us back to that, that's who I'm going to support. And I haven't seen enough from Vance yet.
You called JD Vance's wife. What does that mean?
It sounds like a racist word for an Indian person. So
It's a slur for Indians.
Why would you use that?
Well, you want the honest answer?
Because you're a racist?
No, there's actually a different reason. The reason why I said that, if you watch the whole show, did you watch that whole show, by the way?
No, but you've admitted you use that slur. I'm just curious why you would use that about a woman with her heritage.
I'll tell you, there's a really important reason why, and this is why context matters. If you look online at the people that are...
Context matters. Here's why I called her an ethnic slur.
Supporting J.D.
Oh, yes. Censor the slur, by the way. August, thank you.
J.D. Vance the most. They are racist. They're racist also, let's say. And they look at someone like myself. I don't support J.D. Vance. And they say, you're brown. You're a third worldist. They are gleefully participating in the cruelty. You could say the performative cruelty of the Trump administration. They say, you're going back. You have 100 days until you're being deported. You're going into crystal.
Fucking mega coping right now. Holy shit.
And then they tell us to vote for J.D. Vance. And so all I did on the show is I said, you have basically racist chuds that post memes about Indians all day on Twitter, memes about third worldists and Palestinians even. But then they want to turn around and support a guy who has said on Twitter, how dare you say I'm racist? I have non-white kids and I'm in an interracial marriage. And all I said is I just said that's a little ironic. I said that's hypocritical. And Vance is going to have to explain to all of his supporters who have gassed him up as the real mass deportation candidate. He's going to have to explain to them what's going on with that. What is with the contradiction? Because
and you don't feel any accountability for the millions of young people that will hear you use that slur and think it's fine to use it?
No, he doesn't care. He's racist. He just made up a pretend argument as to why it was justified that he was being a racist person. So why would you think he would care?
No, I think that's ridiculous.
Okay. Let's take a final break. I come back with a little kind of summary.
Oh, these breaks, dude. You're breaking my balls.
Of how you think this interview has gone for you.
Okay.
If you're a fan of epic fantasy, Arthurian legend, or just epic storytelling, I have some good news for you. The Pendragon Cycle, Rise of the Merlin, is the Daily Wire's new 7-part cinematic series. And
no, thank you. No, thank you. I was like, a new Lord of the Rings. No, thank you. That's not what we got. A fucking Pendragon? What the fuck are we talking about? What the hell? The fuck? What, the Sigma?
So good, it will shock you. It's a top-quality reimagining.
What is it, Hassan?
The King Arthur legend, which follows a young Merlin in a Britain torn apart by warring factions and standing on the brink of a new era with the rise of Christianity. Daily Wire Plus All Access members get the first 2 full episodes on Christmas Day. Not a teaser, not a sneak peek.
Are you serious? On the first day?
1 and 2, a full month.
What the hell?
2 full episodes on Christmas Day. Not a teaser, not a sneak peek.
How did he just knock 18 people down with the sword? That was fucking cringe as hell.
1 and 2, a full month before anybody else.
Is he a Jedi?
If you want to go ahead with the story, now's the time to join. And with the sale happening right now, you can get 50% off memberships, including the All Access plan.
Hey.
The Pendragon Cycle, Rise of the Merlin, premieres on January 22nd, but All Access members can start watching on Christmas morning. Head to Daily Wire.
Wow, I think that's what I've wanted to do, is spend my fucking Christmas watching Daily Wire slop. I can't wait for that, dude.
WirePlus.com so you don't miss out. Okay, next Wednesday. We've been talking for nearly 2 hours. What is your view of how the interview has gone?
I think swimmingly. It went so amazing, Piers.
I think it was great. Honestly, I think it was a tough interview. You're a tough interviewer, but I don't think there were surprises. I will not say it was an ambush, because it wasn't. I sort of anticipated that you would make some choices about how you wanted it to go, and I was fine with it. So I thought it was terrific.
As a Catholic, you're probably aware the Jerusalem Post has recently called on the Pope to openly condemn you. Would it matter to you if the Pope did? He's an American Pope, obviously.
It would be very disheartening, yes.
Damn.
Why?
Because he's our spiritual leader. He's the head of the church. He's the vicar of Christ. So if he condemned me, that would be very disheartening. And it would depend upon what he would say exactly. But yeah, I wouldn't like that. I wouldn't like that
If
at
he
all.
condemned you because you've openly admitted to being a racist on this show?
Well, you know, this racist, I would be disappointed if he said that, because I think that word racist, it means something different to everybody. And
not really. I mean, some people think everything's racist, but I think for the most part, I don't think anybody really contests you not wanting black people to live in America. I don't think, or non-white people really. Wow, I just got fucking cucked. I don't think anybody would contend that that's racist. That definitely is racist.
So I think that's just silly. I think that's just semantic.
Have you ever been in love in your life?
Dude, he watches Papa God. Have you ever loved before? Holy fuck, dude. That's a great question. That's a great question, Piers. I love that question for us.
No, like romantically, no.
Yeah, never.
No.
That's so sad.
Do you think that's part of the problem?
What's the problem?
That you're 27 and you've never gone on a date before?
You are the way you are.
Oh, and what's the way I am? What are you trying to say?
I've given people 2 hours of the way you are. You're unashamed about a lot of it.
I don't think I have a problem. I think I'm cheerful, boisterous. Look, unlike you, I'm willing to be a little well, I guess you're willing to be provocative, but I'm willing to be very provocative, and I'm a free thinker. And I don't like to be tone policed. I don't like
I'm a free thinker, guys. I just think for free, you know?
Be told about, you know, people are going to tone police and play moral cop about you can't make this joke or you can't make this statement. And I think that's...
You can make it, but obviously it's intentionally created to be a dog whistle. That is the whole point of it when you make those jokes. So.
Just about being intellectually open. I'm a believer in openness.
I completely agree. I think you should be perfectly free to express yourself exactly how you see fit. My problem is how you see fit with some of the things that you say. And we've been through a lot of them. And I think people who don't know you very well will have been shocked in parts and surprised in other parts. But in totality, they can see you for what you are. I think we've got a lot nearer to what the real Nick Fuentes is in the last 2 hours than we probably have seen from your other recent interviews. Would you agree?
Of pinning. Damn.
No, I mean, the clip thing, we've done the clip thing. We've all seen the clip show. Everyone's seen the clips. You think you're the first one to do the ADL rap sheet. So here you said this, and then here you said that. I've been playing that game for 10 years. So this is honestly more of the same, to tell you the truth.
Nick Fuentes, I appreciate you coming on Uncensored. Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me.
Cool.
Well, my thanks to Nick Fuentes, and my thanks to the hundreds of thousands of you watching this special live episode of Piers Morgan Uncensored. As I said during the interview, I think it was firm but fair, but you can all make up your own minds. If you like what you do, please like and subscribe to the channel so that we can keep doing it. I'm back tomorrow. Until then, whatever you're up to, keep it uncensored.
Keep it uncensored, guys. Hey, you know what? You can't say that he doesn't have a pretty badass outro theme. Am I right, guys? Pretty badass outro theme. No joke. No joke, dude. Incredible stuff.